Chapter 2292. Chaotic Battlefield. A mysterious figure stood with his hands behind his back on top of a mountain hidden in the chaotic void. He was shrouded in chaotic mist and his face could not be seen clearly. However, his eyes were deep and calm, as if they could see through the cycle of reincarnation and contained an ancient and wise light. The Wuji Saint turned into a stream of light and came from afar. In an instant, he appeared above the void mountain. Then, he respectfully bowed to the mysterious figure. "Senior, I have given the inheritance crystal of the primal chaos secret skill to Long Outyin according to your instructions." However, the Wuji Saint said hesitantly. "However what?" An indifferent and calm voice slowly sounded, emitting a feeling that made people feel as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. "I have something I don't understand. If you are related to Long Outyin, why didn't you give him the inheritance crystal of the primal chaos secret skill personally? Moreover, why did you tell me that Long Outyin is Ling Xiao and that he has the wordless heavenly book?" The Wuji Saint asked doubtfully. It turned out that the reason he gave the primal chaos secret skill to Ling Xiao was not to repay Ling Xiao for saving his life. It was the instruction of the mysterious figure in front of him. In particular, the mysterious figure also told him that Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book, which shocked him even more. After all, the textless heavenly scripture was the most mysterious chaotic treasure. Countless experts across the universe had wanted to obtain the textless heavenly scripture and comprehend its ultimate secrets over countless years. However, no one had been able to obtain it. 1,000,000 years ago, when the Scarlet Dragon War God had obtained the wordless heavenly book, the War God Hull had weakened because of it. The Scarlet Dragon War God had no choice but to leave the God world and hide in the lower realm. If the news of the wordless heavenly book was exposed, not only the God world, but also the universe would be in an uproar. He could not understand the intention of the mysterious figure in front of him. The fact that he had passed the primal chaos secret skill to Ling Xiao showed that they had a deep relationship. However, the fact that Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book was like a deliberate attempt to kill Ling Xiao. "Wuji, you are the descendant of the Hunyuan Great Emperor. The blood of the Hunyuan Great Emperor flows in your body. However, believe me, doing Ling Xiao a favor will be beneficial to you and your family." The mysterious figure said flatly. "Is Ling Xiao valued by you?" This junior naturally believes senior's words. The everlasting saint said without hesitation. This mysterious figure was on good terms with their Hunyuan imperial clan's old ancestor. They had a very deep relationship. The everlasting saint trusted him very much. However, he still found it hard to believe that with this senior's talent and unrivaled strength, he would actually attach so much importance to Ling Xiao. "Remember my words, you will understand in the future. As for why I spread the news that he has the wordless heavenly book, not only did I tell you, but I also told everyone on the chaos battlefield. This is a tribulation in his life. Whether he can survive or not depends on himself. If he can't even survive this tribulation, then so be it." The mysterious figure said calmly. "Yes." The Wuji Saint felt a chill in his heart as he bowed and said. He could feel the importance this senior placed on Ling Xiao, and he could also feel the indifference and heartlessness in this senior's bones. It was as if Ling Xiao's life or death did not matter to him at all. "Go, the last battle of the chaos battlefield is about to begin. Although you can't become the chosen one, watching this battle will be beneficial to you. Since he has already obtained the 12 sky arts, this battle is just a small test for him." The mysterious figure slowly turned his head, and his deep and calm eyes fell on the Wuji Saint. The Wuji Saint felt as if he had been seen through. "Yes." The Wuji Saint nodded, bowed respectfully to the mysterious figure, and then turned to leave. Rumble. Just after the everlasting saint left, the entire chaotic battlefield began to shake violently. The chaotic mist rose, and the heavens and the earth shook. A mysterious aura gushed out like the vast heavenly Tao, enveloping everyone in the battlefield. The mysterious figure stepped forward, and lotus flowers appeared under his feet. They were ethereal and mysterious, and they were accompanied by a faint sigh that resounded in the void. "The curtain has been drawn. It took me so long to choose you. I hope you won't disappoint me, As soon as he finished speaking, the mysterious figure directly disappeared into the void. In the flowing time mountain, Ling Xiao slowly woke up from his cultivation state. 3,000 years of dreaming. I didn't expect that I would cultivate for so long. A bright light shot out from Ling Xiao's eyes. It was as sharp as lightning as he lamented. At this moment his temperament had changed. He looked like a mortal without any cultivation fluctuations. His clothes were whiter than snow, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His smile was incomparably clear, and he looked clean and beautiful. After Ling Xiao obtained the time compass, the flow of time within it had reached an astonishing 10,000 times faster. Although only 3 months had passed in the outside world, Ling Xiao had cultivated for 3,000 years in the time compass. Over the past 3,000 years, not only had Ling Xiao gained an extremely deep understanding of the scripture of time, but he had also begun to integrate the 7 heaven methods and secret arts he had obtained. Ling Xiao had also carefully honed his cultivation. Although he was still at the 3rd heaven realm, he was on a completely different level from before. Ling Xiao's understanding of the heavenly way and his own body had also become much deeper. Ling Xiao, you're finally out. Why do I feel like I can't see through you? When Old Goat and the others saw Ling Xiao suddenly appear, their eyes were filled with excitement. Ling Xiao had brought them here and they had been waiting for a long time. They were even a little impatient. The current chaos battlefield had changed too much. Many geniuses had been eliminated, and those who remained were all supreme experts of the younger generation without exception. They had invincible battle strength that could suppress the world. They also felt great pressure and were eager for Ling Xiao to come out of seclusion. Old Goat felt that although Ling Xiao looked like a mortal, he gave him an incomparable sense of danger. He was unfathomable, and he felt a familiar yet unfamiliar feeling. You're all here? It seems like the final battle of the chaos battlefield is about to begin. Ling Xiao looked at Old Goat and the others and was incomparably happy. He was especially relieved when he saw that Jin Sei and Shui Wei were safe and sound. This is the Primal Chaos Secret Technique Inheritance Crystal that the Wuji Saint asked me to give to you. He said that it's to repay you for saving his life, but I keep feeling that there's something wrong with it. White Dragon Horse handed the Primal Chaos Secret Technique Inheritance Crystal to Ling Xiao and then told him about their encounter with the Wuji Saint. Primal Chaos Secret Technique? Ling Xiao was a little moved. He did not expect the Primal Chaos Secret Technique, which was the most difficult to obtain, to be obtained so easily. It's not just the Primal Chaos Secret Technique. Young Master, we've also captured 4 of them. They should have the Sky Arts secret technique that you need. Chapter 2293. Yi Jiming, Wuxin Arhet, Jun Wuhan and the soul-taking boy had all woken up, but their primordial spirits and cultivation were sealed. When they saw Ling Xiao, their expressions changed drastically. After all, they had once followed Tianzi to hunt Ling Xiao. Now that they had fallen into Ling Xiao's hands, the consequences could be imagined. The 4 holy sons of the Destiny Shrine, Myriad Buddha Temple, Heavenly Curse Sect, and Darkness Heavenly Sect? I didn't expect someone to send me a pillow just as I was about to take a nap. The corners of Ling Xiao's mouth curled into a smile that was not a smile. Long out Yen, if you want to kill me, then kill me. Cut the crap. Yi Jiming hardened his heart and said coldly. He also understood that now that he had fallen into Ling Xiao's hands, the odds were against him. Instead of begging for mercy, he might as well be more unyielding. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Why don't we make a deal? If you hand over your heaven arts and secret techniques, I can spare your lives. How about it? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Now, he already had 8 heaven art secret techniques. He only needed the chaos secret technique, the fate secret technique, the heaven curse secret technique, and the light and darkness secret technique to complete the 12 heaven arts. The 12 heavenly arts were the cornerstone treasures of the 12 immortal holy lands. It was originally recorded in the wordless heavenly book and was one of the top 12 secret techniques in the Heavenly Dipper realm. First in the Heavenly Dipper rankings, Primal Chaos Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper Rank 2, Secret of Destiny. Heavenly Dipper Rank 3, Karma Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper Rank 4, Reincarnation's Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper Rank 5, Space-Time's Secret Technique. Heaven Dipper Rank 6, Heaven's Punishment's Secret Technique. Heaven Dipper Rank 7, Heaven Curse Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper 8, Light Dark Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper Rank 9, Nirvana Secret Art. Rank 10 of the Heavenly Dipper Realm, Yin Yang Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper 11th Rank, 5 Elements Secret Technique. Heavenly Dipper 12th, Heaven Battling Secret Technique. Yi Jiming had the secret technique of fate, Heartless Arhat had the secret technique of karma, Jun Wuhan had the secret technique of heaven curse, and Soul Hooking Boy had the secret technique of light and darkness. Coupled with the primal chaos secret technique that the everlasting saint had mysteriously sent over, Ling Xiao finally saw the hope of gathering the 12 heavenly arts. You want our heaven's secret technique? Long Ao Yin, don't you dare. Jun Wuhan's gaze turned cold as he said in a cold voice. If they leaked the heaven's secret technique, they would be severely punished when they returned to the sect. They might even be labeled as traitors. Rather than that, they would rather die. Why are you so stubborn? Although the heaven's secret technique is precious, it can't be compared to the lives of the 4 of you, right? Don't worry, as long as you hand over the heaven art secret technique, I can guarantee that it won't be leaked. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He was not at all surprised by Yi Jiming and the others' reactions. After all, the 12 sky techniques weren't any weaker than the complete Imperial Sutra. If Yi Jiming and the other 3 became saints, they would be able to unleash the full power of the sky techniques. At that time, it would be very difficult for Ling Xiao to capture them. After hearing Ling Xiao's words, Yi Jiming and the others hesitated. They could see the killing intent in Ling Xiao's eyes. They did not doubt that if they did not hand over the heavenly art's secret technique, Ling Xiao would really kill them. After all, they were all heaven-defying heaven's favorites and had hopes of peeking into the highest realm. Of course, they didn't want to die here. Can you really guarantee that you won't kill us? Yi Jiming was silent for a moment as he stared at Ling Xiao. I guarantee that as long as you hand over the complete heaven art secret technique to me, I will spare your lives. If you violate this oath, you will be abandoned by the heavens and will never be reincarnated. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and stretched out his hand. Then, a blood-red light flickered between his eyebrows. It intertwined in the void and formed an extremely mysterious rune. Then, it disappeared without a trace. Great Primordial Spirit Oath. Yi Jiming's eyes flashed. He could see that Ling Xiao had made a great primordial spirit oath. This oath directly affected the primordial spirit's fate. If one violated it, they would suffer an extremely severe backlash. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to make a great primordial spirit oath so easily. That's right. This is the great primordial spirit oath. I have shown my sincerity. Now you can make your choice. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Then he slowly walked in front of Yi Jiming and the others. An extremely powerful aura locked onto the 4 of them. Killing intent filled the air, causing Yi Jiming and the others' expressions to change. They knew that if they dared to refuse again, Ling Xiao would definitely kill them without hesitation. Alright, I'm willing to hand over the secret skill of destiny to you. Yi Jiming gritted his teeth and made his decision. Although Wu Wuxin, Jun Wuhan, and the soul-reaping boy felt extremely aggrieved, their lives were more important now. They all agreed to hand over the complete secret skill of destiny to Ling Xiao. Buzz. 4 bright inheritance crystals landed in Ling Xiao's palm. They represented the secret skill of destiny, secret skill of karma, secret skill of heaven curse, and secret skill of light and darkness. Although Ling Xiao had already obtained the complete secret skill of karma, he was very curious to see if Wu Xian's secret skill of karma was the same as his. Very good. You have made the right choice. Don't worry. After the chosen one ends, I will let you go. Now, please take a nap. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Then he pointed in the air and knocked Yi Jiming and the others unconscious again. Then he handed them over to Ling Xiao. After the chosen one ends, I will leave them to you. As long as you don't kill them, you can do whatever you want. Ling Xiao said slowly. Do whatever I want? Their flesh and blood are incomparably delicious. I really want to have a taste. Ling Xiao licked his lips and said with a sinister look in his eyes. Up to you. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Yi Jiming and the others wanted to kill him. Ling Xiao was already kind enough to spare their lives. As for how Ling Xiao would deal with them, Ling Xiao didn't know and didn't want to know. Now that the 12 sky skills have been completely gathered, I will need to go into seclusion for a few days to receive the inheritance. I will have to trouble you all to protect me. Ling Xiao looked at Ling Xiao, the old goat, Jin Sei, and Shui Wei. Don't worry. Go into seclusion. Leave everything to us. The old goat patted his chest and said. Everyone was looking forward to Ling Xiao obtaining the inheritance of the 12 sky skills. How strong would he be after mastering the 12 sky skills? I hope that the Emperor of Kunwu Mountain is right. After refining the 12 sky skills, I will be able to completely control the wordless heavenly book. Ling Xiao muttered to himself. His body shone brightly as he slowly disappeared into the void. Once again, he entered the chrono compass and went into seclusion to cultivate. After being in the divine realm for so many years, Ling Xiao had finally obtained all the 12 sky skills. He could faintly feel that the fusion of the 12 sky skills would bring about an incomparably miraculous change. Chapter 2294. In the depths of the chaos battlefield, there was an ordinary-looking mountain. However, the interior of the mountain was hollowed out and a powerful spatial formation was set up to form a small world. At this moment, an intense battle was taking place in the small world in the middle of the mountain. Rumble! A ferocious fist mark rose up like the sun, emitting an endless amount of scorching light as it smashed the sword light that filled the sky into dust. Zhao Ritian and Duguqiubai stood in the air, their battle intent rising. Both of their auras exploded to the extreme as they engaged in an intense battle. Among the spectators, there were Panga Heavenly Dipper, Zhou Panlong, Jiang Luer, and some other geniuses from other worlds. At this moment, everyone was watching the battle between Zhao Ritian and Duguqiubai with mixed emotions. I didn't expect Zhao Ritian to be so strong. I don't think Brother Dugu will be able to defeat him. Pangu Heavenly Dipper said with a sigh. I didn't expect that after being sealed for so long, such a genius would appear in the human race. I admit defeat. Zhou Panlong said with a wry smile. Both Pangu Celestial Dipper and Zhou Panlong had been defeated by Zhao Ritian. Even though they were proud and arrogant, and one was the son of great Emperor Pangu and the other was an ancient genius, they were still convinced that they had lost to Zhao Ritian. The Son of Heaven launched a massacre in the chaos battlefield. All the geniuses he encountered died in his hands and had their power of fate snatched away. Tianzi's luck was at its peak. The luck above his head had turned purple, indicating that his luck had reached its peak. The final battle of the chaos battlefield had arrived. Only the possessor of purple luck was qualified to participate in the final battle. Zhao Ritian, Panga Heavenly Dipper, Zhou Panlong, Jiang Luer, and Duguqiubai had encountered each other by chance. However, their luck was mostly silver. Only Zhao Ritian's luck was golden, but it was still far from purple. Therefore, they finally made a decision to spar with each other and give their luck to the strongest person. That way, they wouldn't hurt each other. However, they did not expect Zhao Ritian to be so strong. After a fierce battle, Pangu Heavenly Dipper and Zhou Panlong were defeated by Zhao Ritian. Meanwhile, the battle between Duguqiubai and Zhao Ritian had been going on for more than 1,000 rounds. Seeing that the battle was about to end, the crowd stared intently at the two of them, waiting to see who would emerge victorious. Dao Brother Jiang, who do you think will win this battle? Pangu Tiangang glanced at Jiang Luer and asked. Zhao Ritian. Jiang Luer smiled indifferently and spat out these 3 words without the slightest hesitation. Are you sure? Then who would win between you and Zhao Ritian? Why don't you go up and fight? Zhou Panlong asked curiously. Jiang Luer was known as a peerless sky pride from 90 million years ago. He had the potential to become an emperor. Although Zhou Panlong was from a much earlier era than Jiang Luer, he could vaguely feel that Jiang Luer was unfathomable and perhaps even stronger than him. However, Jiang Luer had already made it clear that he wouldn't compete for the chosen child. He would only give his luck to the final victor. Just wait and see. I'm afraid the result of this battle will be revealed very soon. I never had any thoughts about the chosen child. The reason I'm here is to find someone. Jiang Luer said indifferently. Find someone? Zhou Panlong was even more curious now. Boom. However, at this moment, a terrifying aura exploded in the void, attracting Zhou Panlong's attention. His gaze instantly fell on Zhao Ritian and Dugu Qiubai. Zhao Ritian, you're indeed very strong. Actually, I've already lost if I can't defeat you after more than 1,000 rounds. However, I still have one last sword move that I haven't fully mastered. Do you want to give it a try? Dugu Qiubai said calmly as he looked at Zhao Ritian. He was a pure sword cultivator, and a sword cultivator had a sharp edge. Sword cultivators pressed forward with indomitable will, and they had no regrets. Either the enemy died, or they died. Therefore, battles between sword cultivators were often extremely tragic, and the outcome would be decided within a few moves. However, during his battle with Zhao Ritian, Dugu Qiubai realized that Zhao Ritian seemed to have the immortal body and the leakless true body. He couldn't find any flaws in Zhao Ritian's sword skills. From this point of view, he had already lost. However, Dugu Qiubai was excited to finally meet a strong opponent. Therefore, he decided to use that sword move. Senior Dugu still has an ultimate move? Of course, I'll teach you a thing or two. Although I, Zhao Ritian, am a genius, Senior Dugu isn't bad either. I'd really like to see if Senior Dugu is truly undefeatable. Zhao Ritian laughed proudly. He was wearing a golden armor. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His body was extremely tall and slender. His entire body was exuding an extremely powerful aura. Flames surrounded his body, making him look like a peerless god of war. His aura was sharp, domineering, and arrogant. Zhao Ritian had learned a lot from the battle with Pangu's Celestial Dipper and Zhou Panlong. Especially the battle with Dugu Qiubai, Zhao Ritian was extremely focused. Alright. This sword of mine is called Myriad Tribulations. Life and death become nothing. I haven't fully comprehended it, and it's just an incomplete move. Dugu Qiubai said slowly. An ordinary long sword appeared in his palm. The blade was straight and the sword chi was sharp. It was like the autumn water that reflected all living beings in the world, including Dugu Qiubai and Zhao Ritian's faces. In the next moment, Dugu Qiubai made his move. The long sword was thrusting towards Zhao Ritian lightly. The tip of the sword was trembling slightly as streaks of dazzling sword light rose into the air, forming an intricate and grotesque world in the void. It was as if billions of worlds were intertwined. There was birth and destruction, chaos and nothingness, life and death, reality and illusion. It was as if one would be completely immersed in it with just a glance. Zhao Ritian's expression was a little confused. It was as if he was trapped in an endless illusion. He could only watch the sword coming towards his forehead without any thought of blocking it. The tip of the sword was right in front of Zhao Ritian. The tip of the sword pierced through Zhao Ritian's forehead. There was a trace of blood radiance on the tip of the sword. Rumble. However, at that moment, a blazing divine light rose from Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness. The blood in his body boiled and flowed with boundless light that could split heaven and earth. Flames that could destroy heaven and earth burned fiercely, causing him to erupt with a terrifying aura that did not belong to this world. The forbidden power had erupted. Zhao Ritian suddenly reached out his hand and grabbed the longsword. A terrifying energy fluctuation erupted from his arm. With a crisp sound, the longsword was broken by Zhao Ritian. Countless mysterious and illusory worlds shattered like glass. A dazzling rain of light fell. In the end, only Dugu Qiubai and Zhao Ritian's figures were left. You've won. Chapter 2295. The Myriad Tribulations, Life and Death Void was a sword technique that Dugu Qiubai had comprehended based on the Destruction Dao and Life Dao. It was not complete and was still in the exploration stage. It could only be considered an incomplete sword technique. The power of this incomplete sword technique was earth-shattering. The horrifying power from earlier could almost tear everything apart and destroy all living beings. However, it was still shattered by Zhao Ritian's forbidden power in the end. Dugu Qiubai's expression was calm as he admitted defeat. Senior Dugu, if we were to fight, I'm definitely no match for you. Moreover, I can feel that your sword technique is incomplete. If it were complete, it would definitely be able to unleash 10 times or even 100 times more power. Zhao Ritian sighed emotionally as he spoke. The myriad tribulations, life and death void was extremely powerful. If Zhao Ritian did not activate the forbidden power in the end, it would be extremely difficult to break through the myriad tribulations, life and death void. Zhao Ritian won by luck and with great difficulty. I'm looking forward to that day too, Dugu Qiubai said with a smile. He could feel that when he fully comprehended the myriad tribulations, life and death void, it would be the time for him to become a sage. He was also looking forward to the power of this sword technique. Are you guys convinced? If you're not, feel free to challenge me. Zhao Ritian's gaze fell upon the crowd below and said with a proud smile. We're convinced. Lord Zhao Ritian, we're willing to give our providence to you. Everyone's eyes were filled with respect as they quickly said. Most of them had fled to this place to hide after hearing about Tianzi's massacre. Now that Zhao Ritian was willing to protect their lives, they were naturally willing to hand over their providence. Very well. You've made the right choice. Zhao Ritian said with a faint smile. Buzz. The golden fate above Zhao Ritian's head looked like a dazzling sun with a dazzling radiance. At this moment, everyone gave up on the power of fate as they were devoured by the golden fate above Zhao Ritian's head. Auspicious chi rose above Zhao Ritian's head. The providence rose and intertwined with each other, containing an incomparably majestic and ancient energy fluctuation. Zhao Ritian, we've given our providence to you as well. Zhou Panlong, Pangdiangang, and Dugu Qiubai all gave up their power of fortune and gave it to Zhao Ritian. Since Zhao Ritian had used his own strength to win the power of providence, they naturally had no objections. Even the power of providence above Jiang Luer's head was given to Zhao Ritian. Rumble. Providence rose above Zhao Ritian's head. After absorbing and refining so much providence, the golden providence began to turn purple, emitting a peaceful and majestic aura. The purple fate was like a purple sun. It was dazzling and a purple rainbow shot up into the sky. The entire chaotic battlefield began to shake. The final battle begins. At the same time, an ancient and mysterious voice resounded through the entire primal chaos battlefield, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. Zhao Ritian was shrouded by the purple auspicious chi. He instantly disappeared from the void and appeared in an unknown and mysterious area. This was the final battle of the chaos battlefield. Buzz. Just as Zhao Ritian appeared in the final battlefield, a few other powerful figures had purple auspicious chi above their heads. The providence around them rose like burning flames, causing them to be shrouded in a mysterious aura. Tianzi was dressed in golden chainmail. His white cape fluttered in the wind. His figure was slender and strong. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His face was incomparably handsome. His eyes were filled with indifference. He had an aura of looking down on the world. His providence was the strongest. Purple divine light rose, causing his entire body to be shrouded in purple auspicious chi. Every move he made caused the surrounding void to shake violently. The final battle, huh? Only I am worthy of being the chosen one. An indifferent voice sounded. A mysterious young figure spoke. That figure was a young man. He was slender and handsome. He had a pair of wings on his back and fangs in his mouth. The fangs shone with golden light as if they were made of pure gold. His eyes were filled with arrogance and dominance. He stood in the void, exuding an immortal aura around him. It was ancient and terrifying. If Ling Xiao was here, he would definitely recognize that this young man with fangs was the Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince that he had met before. I, the Shaman King, will be the final victor in the final battle. With a muffled sound, a dazzling purple divine light emerged. A muscular man wearing beast skin and holding a stone club walked out. He looked very wild and wild. His black hair was messy and his eyes were filled with an aggressive light. His aura was powerful to the extreme. The Shaman King was the strongest among the younger generation of the Sorcerer tribe. The Sorcerer tribe was not weaker than the Human tribe and the Demon tribe. Although they usually kept a low profile, the Sorcerer tribe was not to be underestimated. No one was surprised that the Shaman King could reach this stage. Just as Zhao Ritian discovered Tianzi, the Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince, and the Shaman King, the three of them also discovered Zhao Ritian. "It's you? Where is Long Outyen?" When Tianzi saw Zhao Ritian, his body trembled slightly. His eyes instantly became incomparably sharp. They swept past Zhao Ritian's body like a blade, as if he wanted to see through him. "I didn't expect that the son of the Heavenly Emperor would engage in the business of killing and robbing. Is this the temperament of the son of the Heavenly Emperor?" Even if Shrouding Tian is not here today, you will die without a doubt. Zhao Ritian smiled proudly, his eyes revealing an incomparably powerful fighting spirit. "What Long Outyen? I heard that Long Outyen's real name is Ling Xiao. He is the owner of the wordless heavenly book. If he knows what's good for him, he will obediently hand over the wordless heavenly book. Otherwise, you will not be able to withstand my wrath," the Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince said as he stared at Zhao Ritian, revealing his sharp fangs. His eyes were filled with a cruel and bloodthirsty light. "Has the wordless heavenly book finally appeared? I am very interested in this guy called Ling Xiao." The Shaman King's eyes also revealed a look of interest. Just as the mysterious figure had said, he had not only told the Wuji Saint about Ling Xiao's possession of the wordless heavenly book, but he had also told many supreme talents of the entire chaotic battlefield. Although Tianzi, the Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince, and the Shaman King were interested in the Chosen One, they were more interested in Ling Xiao's wordless heavenly book. If they could obtain the complete wordless heavenly book, they would be even more precious than the Chosen One. "How dare the three of you covet the wordless heavenly book? You really don't know what's good for you. Come, let your grandpa Zhao Ritian teach you how to behave." Chapter 2296. What did you say? The Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince stared at Zhao Ritian with a bloody light flashing in his eyes. There seemed to be a sea of blood surging in his eyes. There were countless divine demon corpses in his eyes, exuding an insufferably murderous aura. Zhao Ritian felt as if he was being stared at by an Archean demon. The Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince was extremely mysterious. He was the supreme Emperor Prince who had appeared from the sky-burying coffin. No one knew his origin, but his strength was extremely terrifying. He was extremely domineering and could tear apart supreme talents. Zhao Ritian's words were a great provocation to the Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince. "Human brat, aren't you afraid of biting off more than you can chew? Even the Emperor doesn't dare to say that he can take on the three of us alone. Are you courting death?" The Shaman Spirit King also sneered. Terrifying chi and blood rose from his body, containing a supreme power that could crush the sky. "Brothers, although this brat is from the human race, he is arrogant and unruly. If you want to teach him a lesson, why do you have to do it yourself? Why don't I do it myself and let you deal with him?" The Emperor said indifferently. There was a strange look in his eyes as he stared at Zhao Ritian. It was as if he was searching for something, which made Zhao Ritian feel uncomfortable. "Since the Emperor wants to clean up the sect, we have no objections." The Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince and the Shaman King looked at each other and sneered. There was a hint of sarcasm in their voices, and even a hint of gloating. After all, they could see that the Emperor and Zhao Ritian were both from the human race. However, now that the human race had an internal strife, it was exactly what they wanted. Moreover, through the battle between Zhao Ritian and the Emperor, they might be able to see the Emperor's strength. After all, when it came to the final battle, they were not willing to act rashly. They wanted to know more about each other first. "Brothers, why don't you leave this brat's life to me?" Suddenly, a cold voice rang out in the void. Rumble. Chaotic mist rose, and purple chi filled the air. It was as if a sun had risen in the distance, exuding an ancient, overbearing, and insufferably arrogant aura. A young man in white, shrouded in purple chi, slowly walked over. His eyes seemed to contain a dark vortex that could devour everything. His aura was incomparably mysterious, with a kind of immortal fluctuation. His life essence was extremely exuberant, and every movement of his contained unfathomable heavenly might. Undying Prince? The Son of Heaven, the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, and the Shaman Spirit King narrowed their eyes. It was the undying Prince of the Devil World. The power of providence above his head was extremely powerful. It was like a purple sun that was vigorous and surging. It was burning fiercely, adding a mysterious aura to him. How can a despicable and hypocritical person like you be the son of the Emperor of Heaven? If that's the case, then the Emperor of Heaven must be blind. Zhao Ritian said with a cold smile. Ritian, don't underestimate him. You must win this battle. Second Uncle's voice suddenly rang in Zhao Ritian's heart. I must win? Second Uncle, do you think that I'm no match for him? You're underestimating me too much. Today, I'm going to defeat him completely. Zhao Ritian said in an unconvinced manner. I'm not joking with you. You must win. If you lose, you might die. Second Uncle's voice was extremely serious. Second Uncle, don't worry. Watch me kill this despicable person today. Zhao Ritian said with a cold smile. Rumble. The aura around him rose. As soon as he finished speaking, his aura also rose to the maximum. Then he leaped into the air, emitting an endless blazing light as he punched towards Tianzi. Chapter 2297. Sky-Burning Emperor Fist. This was the supreme emperor technique in the Emperor Yen scripture. It possessed the supreme power to burn the heavens and destroy the earth. Zhao Ritian had the Sun Saint physique. After receiving the inheritance of the Emperor Yen, he quickly comprehended the supreme power of the sky-burning Emperor Fist. When he attacked, it contained the power of extreme yang. His body was integrated with the great Tao of the sun. Every movement of his contained the vast great Tao law. The power was incomparably terrifying. The flame around him was the Emperor Fire of the sun. Although its power was only 1/10,000th of the real Emperor Fire, it was enough to make Zhao Ritian more powerful. Kill! Tianzi's eyes flashed. The chaotic light around him rose. A peerless fist intent rose. The heavenly Emperor Fist exploded. His comprehension of the heavenly Emperor Fist had reached the pinnacle. When he used the heavenly Emperor Fist, the fist shadows swept across the heavens and earth. It was fierce and domineering, as if it could suppress the gods and demons in the heavens and destroy all enemies. Rumble. The collision between the sky-burning Emperor Fist and the heavenly Emperor Fist exploded in an instant. Zhao Ritian and Tianzi were both in the heavenly realm. They both had the inheritance of the Supreme Emperor and the protection of the heavenly Tao. Their attacks were as fast as lightning. When the terrifying fist shadows collided, it instantly triggered a divine light fluctuation. It shattered the endless chaotic mist and caused the heavens and earth to tremble violently. Around the crowd, there were huge chains. They looked bronze in color and had mottled markings. They were like divine chains of order, sealing off the surroundings. This was the mysterious heaven's chosen battlefield in the chaos battlefield. Only the final victor could become the heaven's chosen child. Although Zhao Ritian and Tianzi were extremely powerful, they could not damage the heaven's chosen battlefield at all. The sturdiness of the heaven's chosen battlefield was beyond everyone's expectations. Rumble. Zhao Ritian and Tianzi's fist shadows collided. The terrifying fluctuation caused the two of them to fly back. However, their speed was extremely fast. They were like lightning, moving between the heavens and earth. Their attacks were incomparably fierce. Every move was aimed at each other's vital points. The sky-burning Emperor Fist and the heavenly Emperor Fist exploded to the extreme. The terrifying fluctuation caused the surrounding spectators to look solemn. They did not expect Tianzi and Zhao Ritian's attacks to be so fierce. Rumble. Flames soared into the sky, forming a blazing sea of fire in the void. There were fire phoenixes, three-legged golden crows, fire cheilants, fire dragons, and countless other primordial beasts rushing out. They looked very lifelike and emitted a monstrous ferocious aura as they pounced towards Tianzi. A sharp light flashed in Tianzi's eyes. His heavenly sovereign's fist soared into the sky, resembling a resplendent pillar that pierced through the 9 heavens. In an instant, the sea of flames exploded. The fist imprint was like a mountain that crushed all the ancient beasts. Zhao Ritian, you are no match for me. Are you still going to put up a resistance? The Son of Heaven's voice boomed like thunder, emitting waves of majesty. It was as if his voice had pierced into Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit. How would you know if you don't try? Boasting shamelessly, today I will defeat you, the so-called son of the celestial emperor. The battle intent in Zhao Ritian's eyes rose as the flames around him burned even more fiercely. In his palm, blazing divine light flashed. In an instant, the endless flames condensed into an ancient flaming sword. The runes on the sword were intertwined and it looked extremely sharp, as if it could cut through everything. Slash! Zhao Ritian shouted. In an instant, the ancient flaming sword swept across the void and expanded by tens of thousands of times. It was as if it had split the heavens and the earth. The sword radiance was unparalleled and locked onto Tianzi from all directions. Heavenly fire-glazed sword. It was one of the supreme sword techniques in the Emperor Yen scripture. This sword was extremely terrifying and fast. Before Tianzi could react, it had already appeared above his head. Rumble! Sparks burst forth as blazing divine light intertwined. An ancient sword appeared in Tianzi's palm as well, blocking Zhao Ritian's heavenly fire-glazed sword. Endless sword chi rose, intertwined and eventually annihilated. The heavenly fire-glazed sword of the Emperor Yen? That's all there is to it. Have a taste of the power of the Emperor's sword. The celestial emperor sneered. Rumble! His sword soared into the sky and repelled Zhao Ritian. In an instant, he soared into the sky and stood above the 9 heavens. Endless chaotic light rose and sword chi circled around him. Mysterious figures appeared around him, as if they were the ancestors of the human race. They were fighting against the experts of the various worlds, leading the human race forward through hardships and fighting for a bright and beautiful future for the human race. Every sword chi seemed to contain the fighting spirit of a human race ancestor. Their battle intent rose and their aura was extremely terrifying. The sky was filled with densely packed sword chi. There were at least billions of them. The incomparably sharp aura caused Zhao Ritian and the others to change their expressions. Kill! Tianzi bellowed. The sword chi that filled the sky rose and fell towards Zhao Ritian. It was like a mighty torrent, drowning Zhao Ritian in an instant. Each strand of sword energy was an endless battle spirit. This sword was the sword of destiny of the human race, the peerless sword that the mortal emperor used to dominate the human race. It contained the will of all the human powerhouses from the ancient times to the present, and it was imbued with a supreme power. It was terrifying to the extreme. The emperor's sword. This is one of the 3 peerless emperor techniques of the celestial emperor. It is also rumored to be the most mysterious emperor technique. When cultivated to the extreme, one can even summon the emperor's true body, which is the celestial emperor's true body. It is blessed with the power of will of the experts of the human race. It seems like Zhao Ritian is doomed. The shaman spiritual king said slowly with a hint of seriousness in his eyes. Facing the emperor's sword, he also felt extremely threatened, especially by the billions of sword chi of the emperor's sword. He felt that even he would not be able to resolve it. Is this the legendary emperor's sword? Its power is not too bad. The heavenly corpse emperor snorted coldly. On the other hand, the undying prince stared at Tianzi's attack with a strange look in his eyes. It was like fear, greed, and passion. Rumble! The sword chi that filled the sky contained the power to destroy everything, and it completely drowned Zhao Ritian. Everyone thought that in the face of such a terrifying power, even if Zhao Ritian could withstand it, he would be severely injured. Boom! However, at this moment, the endless sword chi rumbled and suddenly exploded. It was like a huge wave in the sea that rushed to the sky. The sword light rose unparalleled, containing the endless power of flames. Zhao Ritian held the heavenly fire glass sword in his hand. The flames around his body flowed like glass, and it contained endless runes, giving him an immortal and indestructible aura. The Emperor's sword left numerous wounds on Zhao Ritian's body, but they quickly disappeared. Zhao Ritian's body was flawless, and he looked extremely mysterious. He directly rushed out of the endless sword qi of the Emperor's sword. What? Chapter 2298. The Emperor's sword unleashed boundless sword qi. Every sword qi contained the battle spirit of the human tribe's ancestors and was imbued with a vast amount of power of will. Even a saint would die under the impact of hundreds of millions of sword qi. Zhao Ritian's body was originally covered in wounds. Those wounds went deep into his bones and almost sliced him into pieces. However, there was a glazed flame around him, exuding an immortal aura. It destroyed the Renhuang sword qi and turned it into a majestic life essence that fused into Zhao Ritian's body. It brought Zhao Ritian out with it. Immortal glass body? I didn't expect you to have mastered the Flame Emperor's immortal glass body. Tianzi's eyes flashed as he said coldly, Tianzi, I've seen the Heavenly Emperor's fist and the Emperor's sword. What about the Heavenly Emperor's seal? I'd like to see if your Heavenly Emperor's seal or my immortal glass body is stronger. Zhao Ritian stared at Tianzi and said indifferently. The glassy flame around him made him look immortal and majestic. He was like an emperor of flames that suppressed all directions. Rumble. His palm was as clear as jade and emitted a glassy light. In an instant, a glassy palm print came crashing down on Tianzi. The Emperor's fire spread as if it could burn everything. It erupted with an extremely terrifying Emperor's aura. Do you want to see the Heavenly Emperor's seal? As you wish. Tianzi's eyes were extremely cold. A terrifying aura rose around him, and the runes in his palm shone brightly. In an instant, an ancient seal rose into the sky and emitted boundless light, illuminating the world. The ancient seal had the souls of the heavens engraved at the bottom and the chaotic demons engraved at the top. It was surrounded by hundreds of millions of stars, recording the changes of civilization and the vicissitudes of life. It contained an eternal and mysterious energy fluctuation. This was the authority of the Heavenly Emperor. It represented the Heavenly Emperor's ability to suppress the heavens and control the life and death of all beings. It was a supreme power that was above the heavenly way. It could almost ignore the power of time and space and become the only eternity in the heavens. Tianzi used the Heavenly Emperor's seal. It was as if he had turned into the heavens and earth. The huge ancient seal covered the sky and came crashing down on Zhao Ritian. Clang. Sparks flew in all directions as the Celestial Emperor seal's aura surged to the sky. In an instant, it collided with the azure palm print, shattering the azure palm print into pieces. Boundless Emperor fire surged, intending to burn the Heavenly Emperor's seal into ashes. However, the Heavenly Emperor's seal shone with boundless light and was impervious to all attacks. It blocked the raging Emperor fire and continued to press down on Zhao Ritian. Open! Glazed flames rose around Zhao Ritian's body, surrounded by a vast law of fire. He raised his arms to the sky, and an unparalleled force burst forth and blasted toward the Heavenly Emperor seal. The flames were extinguished with a loud bang. Streaks of flames were like dragons accompanied by blazing lightning, releasing boundless divine light. The surrounding heaven and earth shook violently at the same time. Zhao Ritian's arms were trembling. The glazed flame on his body had reached its peak in an instant. It was as if it had reached its limit. One could only imagine how much pressure he was under. But in the end, he managed to block the suppression of the Celestial Emperor's seal. Divine power surged out from his body and sent the Celestial Emperor's seal flying. Kill! Zhao Ritian controlled the glazed flame that filled the sky and unleashed the power of the immortal glazed body. He clenched his fist and performed the Burning Sky Emperor fist with one hand and the Heavenly Fire glazed sword with the other. At the same time, he performed the 3 supreme emperor techniques of the Emperor Yen scripture and charged toward Tianzi. Tianzi was also enraged by Zhao Ritian. Boundless chaotic light rose around his body. The heavenly emperor's fist swept in all directions, the human sovereign's sword suppressed the myriad of worlds, and the celestial emperor's seal controlled life and death. The 3 supreme emperor techniques also charged toward Zhao Ritian. Rumble. Blazing divine light bloomed and spewed out in all directions. The chaotic mist exploded one after another, surging with incomparably terrifying energy fluctuations. It was like a volcanic eruption, but also like the creation of heaven and earth. The collision of supreme power almost tore this ancient battlefield apart. Not only did Zhao Ritian obtain the inheritance of the Emperor Yen, but he also cultivated the Emperor Yen scripture to such a level? It's unbelievable that he forced Tianzi to such a state. The shaman spiritual king exclaimed and lamented. The Emperor Yen was the ruler of the ancient fire world. He was many eras before the heavenly emperor, but his strength was earth-shattering. He was one of the few ancient great emperors who could leave his name in this era. His inheritance is naturally extraordinary. This Tianzi's strength is only SOSO. He still hasn't mastered the 3 supreme emperor techniques of the heavenly emperor. The heavenly corpse emperor prince said coldly and arrogantly, his eyes filled with bloody light. He had awakened in the sky-burying coffin and his background was shocking. He was probably the son of one of the great emperors in the ancient times. Although he was reborn with the help of Hua Xiang's body, his strength was earth-shattering and incomparably terrifying. It gave him the combat strength to look down on his peers. Naturally, he did not even take Zhao Ritian and Tianzi seriously. It seems like Tianzi may not be able to take down Zhao Ritian. Why don't we lend him a hand? The undying prince said flatly, but there was a trace of intense killing intent in his eyes. His gaze stopped on Zhao Ritian and Tianzi, and a murderous light flashed in his eyes. The demon tribe and the human tribe were mortal enemies. If he wanted to seize the heaven's chosen son, both Zhao Ritian and Tianzi would be the greatest enemies of the undying prince. He was looking for an opportunity to eliminate Zhao Ritian and Tianzi when they were both injured. He said this to remind the shaman spiritual king and the heavenly corpse emperor prince. After all, it was good for them to have one less threat. Sure enough, after hearing the undying prince's words, the shaman spiritual king and the heavenly corpse emperor prince's eyes flickered. Obviously, they each had their own ulterior motives. Rumble. The battle between Zhao Ritian and Tianzi became more and more intense. It stirred up the chaos and broke the void. The terrifying great Tao laws intertwined as if they could annihilate everything. However, the two seemed to be evenly matched, and neither could do anything to the other. The blood in Zhao Ritian's body began to boil. There was a mysterious light flashing in his eyes. His entire body was filled with battle intent, and he even seemed a little crazy. A trace of terrifying energy fluctuation that seemed to be able to annihilate everything, and it caused the souls of all living beings in the heavens to tremble. The energy that could annihilate countless chaotic divine demons spread out from his body. The terrifying energy exploded, and it caused Zhao Ritian's strength to skyrocket. His strength instantly increased by a few times, and each of his moves contained unfathomable heavenly might. Rumble. Tianzi was sent flying by Zhao Ritian's punch. The burning sky emperor fist was filled with flames, as if it wanted to burn Tianzi into ashes. Tianzi's body trembled, and his face turned pale. However, his eyes were unprecedentedly bright. Forbidden energy. It's really you. Chapter 2299. Once again, Zhao Ritian's body erupted with the forbidden energy. The forbidden energy seemed to originate from the deepest part of his body, from his life providence and soul. It was an innate energy that contained supreme power. It would only erupt when Zhao Ritian was in danger or when he was completely enraged. The forbidden energy could increase Zhao Ritian's strength and combat strength greatly. It could even allow him to challenge and kill stronger enemies. The energy seemed to be bestowed by the heavenly axiom. That was why people with such energy were called the forbidden physique. However, it was difficult for ordinary people to explain how the forbidden physique came about. When Tianzi saw the forbidden energy erupting from Zhao Ritian's body, it was as if a guess in his heart had been verified. His body began to tremble with excitement. Even when he was knocked back by Zhao Ritian's punch and suffered some injuries, he did not feel it at all. The bloodline of the Heavenly Emperor. Summon the true body of heaven and earth. Erupt. The Son of Heaven said softly. Rumble. Thunder rumbled around him as chaotic lightning filled the air. An ancient and terrifying aura rose. The blood in his body seemed to have awakened with some ancient power, and it began to surge like a great river. Vast blood chi soared into the sky, and in an instant, it condensed into an incomparably mysterious figure behind him. It was a figure standing at the peak of chaos. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked down at the galaxy. Although his face was a little blurry, his eyes were incomparably wise, bright, and deep. They contained a compassion that bemoaned the state of the universe and pitied the fate of mankind. There was also a majestic and domineering aura that could sweep across the universe and suppress the heavens. That figure contained an invincible destiny. The vast power of heaven and earth poured into the Son of Heaven's body, causing his aura to skyrocket. The moment they saw the figure, whether it was the shaman spiritual king, the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, or the undying Emperor Prince, they could not help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with respect. This is the Heavenly Emperor's true body. As expected of the Heavenly Emperor's son, he can summon the Heavenly Emperor's true body. Only the Heavenly Emperor can imprint the true body in the heavenly axiom. The shaman spiritual king trembled. His eyes were filled with shock, fear, and envy. The Heavenly Emperor's true body? So, this is his most powerful trump card. The undying Emperor Prince muttered to himself. The murderous intent in his eyes burned even brighter. This is the Heavenly Emperor of the human clan? He has reached such a realm. The Heavenly Corpse Imperial Prince was still arrogant and disdainful, but after seeing the Heavenly Emperor's true body, he couldn't help but tremble in disbelief. He suddenly realized that this human celestial emperor's cultivation had actually reached the legendary Forbidden Realm. He was even more powerful than his celestial emperor. But how was this possible? After so many times of the Heavenly Emperor's true body. Rumble. Under the support of the Heavenly Monarch true body, the Heavenly Monarch's aura exuded from his body. Every movement of his contained an unfathomable heavenly aura. The great Tao laws revolved around him, and chaotic light rose, making him look majestic, ancient, and mysterious. Zhao Ritian trembled. The moment he saw the Heavenly Emperor's true body, he was stunned. His expression became confused. He suddenly felt that the Heavenly Emperor's true body was both familiar and unfamiliar. It was as if he had seen it before. It was as if the figure was so warm that it made him feel a sense of attachment. The Heavenly Emperor's eyes were cold. He threw a punch at Zhao Ritian. The power of the Heavenly Emperor's fist was many times stronger than before. The terrifying fist imprint was filled with chaotic light and contained an unparalleled divine power. It was headed straight for Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian was in a daze. He did not put up any resistance and allowed the fist to land on his body. Although Zhao Ritian's immortal glass body was extremely sturdy, it suffered a devastating blow when it was hit by the Heavenly Emperor's fist. Runes started to shatter and cracks started to appear on his immortal glass body. He was sent flying backward. Zhao Ritian trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. Who are you? Who am I? Zhao Ritian was in a daze. He stared at the Heavenly Emperor's true body behind the Heavenly Emperor and shouted. He felt a dull pain in his heart. However, he did not know why. When he saw the Heavenly Emperor's true body and saw the Heavenly Emperor attacking him, he instinctively did not want to fight back. Instead, he was in a daze. It was as if there were countless scenes, fragments, and meetings flashing in his mind. Boom! Zhao Ritian's mind shook. His primordial spirit was trembling violently. Mysterious chains appeared around him. It was as if Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit was completely shackled. He had no way to break free from the shackles. Zhao Ritian quickly fight back. If you don't fight back, you will die in the hands of the Heavenly Emperor before you can remember the past. Fight back, quickly fight back. The second uncle's anxious voice rang in Zhao Ritian's mind. The past? Second uncle, who am I? Zhao Ritian asked in his mind. I can't say. This is your destiny. You have to remember it yourself. The Son of Heaven is also your destined enemy. You have to kill him personally. Remember, fight back. Don't stop. The second uncle's voice was like thunder as he urged anxiously. Fight back, fight back. But why am I not willing to fight back? Zhao Ritian's body trembled. He raised his arm. However, when he saw the Heavenly Emperor's true body, he subconsciously put it down. Zhao Ritian's eyes were in a daze. They even turned blood red. 2 streams of blood tears flowed down slowly. However, he was still instinctively unwilling to fight back. Boom! At this moment, the Heavenly Emperor punched Zhao Ritian's chest again. Zhao Ritian's immortal glass body was completely shattered. The glass flames on his chest shattered. His ribs were broken and he was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Who am I? Who am I? Zhao Ritian roared into the sky. He was in a state of madness. His long hair began to dance wildly. Blood tears flowed from his eyes. His eyes were filled with confusion and sorrow. Rumble! Divine chains of order appeared out of thin air and wrapped around Zhao Ritian's body. It was as if they had always been wrapped around his body. They wrapped around his primordial spirit and his life chart. They sealed everything about him, preventing him from being reincarnated forever. Zhao Ritian's body was covered in bloodlight. His entire body exploded with an incomparably violent energy. However, he was unable to break free from the divine chains of order. You can go to hell now. The Heavenly Emperor's eyes were filled with murderous intent. The Emperor's sword contained a monstrous sword chi as it slashed down on Zhao Ritian. At the same time, the Heavenly Emperor was so excited that he began to go crazy. As long as he killed Zhao Ritian and devoured the forbidden primordial spirit, he would be able to complete his cultivation. At that time, not to mention defeating all his peers and becoming the new Heaven's chosen one, it wouldn't be difficult for him to achieve a meteoric rise and become an emperor. Zhao Ritian must die. Chapter 2300. Rumble. The human emperor's sword chi contained the power to destroy the heavens and earth. The sword chi was so sharp that no one could block it. In an instant, it enveloped Zhao Ritian. Bloody light flashed on Zhao Ritian's body. Streaks of blood appeared on his body. His flesh was cut open by the human emperor's sword chi. In the end, only a crystal-clear skeleton was left. Zhao Ritian's skeleton was unexpectedly strong. It exuded an immortal glow. When the human emperor's sword chi slashed on his skeleton, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Sparks flew in all directions, but it did not leave a single mark. Why am I not willing to attack you? Who am I? Zhao Ritian knelt in the void. His sunken eyes were filled with confusion and sorrow. At this moment, he only had eyes for the Heavenly Emperor real body. Other than that, he ignored the Son of Heaven and the Shaman King. He seemed to be asking himself, but at the same time, it seemed like he was asking the Heavenly Emperor real body. His voice was sorrowful and tragic, moving those who heard it. What's going on? Why isn't Zhao Ritian fighting back? Why is he allowing the Son of Heaven to attack? The Shaman King's eyes were filled with shock. The Shaman King, the Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince, and the Undying Emperor Prince were shocked by the sudden turn of events. Previously, both Zhao Ritian's taboo power and Tianzi's Heavenly Emperor real body had made them feel extremely threatened. However, for some reason, Zhao Ritian seemed to have lost his soul after seeing Tianzi's Heavenly Emperor real body and forgot to resist. Where did this Zhao Ritian come from? Could it be that he's related to the Heavenly Emperor? The Heaven Corp's Emperor Prince's eyes flashed coldly as he guessed. The scene in front of them was simply too unbelievable. Even though the three of them were geniuses, it was difficult for them to guess the reason behind this. The undying prince, whose eyes were filled with murderous intent, started to hesitate. Initially, he wanted to take advantage of the moment when both Tianzi and Zhao Ritian were injured to kill both of them. However, it seemed like this was not a good time to do so. Especially after seeing the Heavenly Emperor real body, he did not think that angering the Son of Heaven would be a good thing. "I want to see how hard your bones are," Tianzi said coldly. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Rumble. The Heavenly Emperor's seal pierced through the sky, exuding an ancient aura that could suppress thousands of worlds. It rumbled and pressed down on Zhao Ritian. Under the control of the Heavenly Emperor's true body, the Heavenly Emperor's seal erupted with an unparalleled sharpness. In front of the Heavenly Emperor's seal, Zhao Ritian instinctively felt a sense of fatal danger. He stretched out his arm in an attempt to block it. However, the moment he saw the Heavenly Emperor's real body, his arm that was only left with bones froze. I can't. Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with struggle. He was filled with sorrow and sadness. Boom. The Heavenly Emperor's seal came crashing down, releasing an unparalleled wave of divine light that blasted onto Zhao Ritian's body. Even though Zhao Ritian's bones were extremely tough and exuded an immortal wave, they still trembled violently under the Heavenly Emperor's seal. Runes of the heavenly law were destroyed one after another, and his bones dimmed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, one of Zhao Ritian's arms exploded into dust. He staggered backward, and his flame of life weakened significantly. Zhao Ritian, have you really forgotten who you are? Have you forgotten the person who once brought you warmth and glory? You must pull yourself together. You must pull yourself together. Fight back. He won't blame you. The second uncle's voice exploded in Zhao Ritian's mind, filled with worry and anxiety. However, the second uncle also understood that this was the biggest calamity in Zhao Ritian's life. It was also a process that he had to go through. He could not remind him, nor could he reveal any related secrets. Other than such feeble words, he could not do anything else. Zhao Ritian could only endure everything by himself. Second uncle, who is that person you're talking about? What's my relationship with the Heavenly Emperor? Why am I unwilling to attack him? Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with madness and pain. It was as if his entire being had become extremely violent. Rumble. Divine chains of order intertwined around his body. They contained ancient runes that sealed his primordial spirit and fate. However, at this moment, as Zhao Ritian went berserk, an unimaginable power seemed to have erupted from his body. It caused his body to emit boundless light, as if he was trying to break the divine chains of order completely. You're courting death. The Heavenly Emperor was instantly enraged. The killing intent in his eyes burned fiercely. There was also a faint trace of unconcealable shock and fear. His attacks became even fiercer. Boom. Boom, boom. The Heavenly Emperor's fist traversed the sky, surrounded by endless chaotic light. It opened up billions of worlds in the void, containing the power of great destruction. The Emperor's sword swept across the 9 heavens. The dense sword chi rose like the sea. Every sword light was incomparably sharp, capable of destroying the world and slashing everything apart. The Heavenly Emperor's seal suppressed the heavens. It was the supreme authority that controlled billions of lives and ruled over the reincarnation of the heavens. It contained the power to suppress everything, and its power was monstrous. With the support of the Heavenly Emperor's real body, the Heavenly Emperor unleashed the power of 3 supreme emperor techniques. He continuously attacked Zhao Ritian, and every attack contained an aura that could destroy everything. Boom. Zhao Ritian's arms turned into dust, and his legs turned into nothingness. His body was pierced by the endless sword chi, and then suppressed by the Heavenly Emperor's seal, completely shattering it. In the end, only his head was left. At this moment, Zhao Ritian's life was like a candle in the wind. It could be extinguished at any time. His eyes were filled with confusion, sorrow, longing, and sighing. However, he did not have the slightest strength to resist. Facing the overwhelming attacks, Zhao Ritian's eyes were fixed on the heavenly emperor's real body. His eyes were filled with endless longing and longing. Am I going to die just like that? It's a pity that I still don't know who I am. I also don't know what my relationship with you is, Father. Zhao Ritian mumbled to himself, then slowly closed his eyes. Rumble. However, just as he said the word Father, a terrifying power erupted from his primordial spirit, shot out from his life chart, and rushed out from every particle in his body. It was like a flood that had opened the floodgates, majestically surging out. Bang, bang, bang. Chapter 2301. It was as if the great ancient emperor had awakened from his slumber. The aura was ancient, mysterious, majestic, and terrifying. It was as if it could tear the heavens apart. The shaman king and the other two were shocked as they felt their hearts palpitating. Rumble. Monstrous divine light surged and surged. Endless chaotic energy surged from all directions and poured into Zhao Ritian's head, causing his aura to skyrocket. It was as if a seal in his sea of consciousness had been broken. A vast torrent of information surged into Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness, allowing him to see countless ancient and mysterious memory fragments. Eternal reincarnation, immortal true spirit. An ancient and mysterious voice exploded in Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness. It was like the voice of the heavenly Tao, majestic and mysterious. The world around him began to rumble violently. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Rays of mysterious spiritual light came from the chaos, containing extremely powerful soul fluctuations. They surged into Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness in an instant. In his sea of consciousness, endless light bloomed, illuminating the boundless world. His primordial spirit sat cross-legged in the mysterious void, exuding an ancient fluctuation. Every ray of spiritual light that merged into his primordial spirit made his primordial spirit grow stronger. His primordial spirit became more and more mysterious, exuding an immortal aura. Today, I finally know that you're you. Zhao Ritian, you're finally awake. The second uncle's voice rang in Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness. It contained joy, relief, and excitement. However, Zhao Ritian was immersed in the vast torrent of memories and accepting the transformation of his primordial spirit. He was extremely calm. Damn it! How could you break free from the 10,000 Emperor's spirit lock heaven fate curse? Di Hao, you deserve to die. I'm the real Di Hao. The Emperor was also pushed back by the terrifying power that erupted from Zhao Ritian's body. His eyes were filled with disbelief. His face instantly became extremely gloomy, filled with monstrous killing intent. He was only one step away from success. As long as Zhao Ritian's skull was shattered and his forbidden soul was devoured, the Son of Heaven would be completely perfected. Furthermore, Zhao Ritian's cultivation had yet to prove his Tao and become a saint. There was no way he could break free from the 10,000 Emperor's spirit lock heaven fate curse. How did he do it? So what if you've broken the 10,000 Emperor's spirit lock heaven fate curse? So what if you've recovered your past memories? Your flesh and blood, your bones, your strength, they are all mine. No one can save you today. You must die. The Son of Heaven seemed to have gone crazy. Monstrous killing intent burst out from his body. The power of the Sky Emperor true body was pushed to the extreme by him. Rumble. The vast Celestial Emperor real body became more and more solid, but the Celestial Emperor real body was trembling violently, as if it wanted to break free from the shackles of the Emperor. Old thing, after so many years, are you still not satisfied? Today, not only will I kill you, I will also kill your son. I am the real Di Hao, the real Son of Heaven Tao. The Son of Heaven mumbled to himself. His eyes were covered with a layer of blood. Terrifying energy rose from his body. Divine chains of order crossed the sky and firmly sealed the Celestial Emperor real body. Rumble, rumble, rumble. He walked towards Zhao Ritian. The killing intent around him seemed to have materialized. There was a crimson light in his palm that contained an energy fluctuation that could devour everything. It slowly moved towards Zhao Ritian. Even if Zhao Ritian had awakened, his physical body was destroyed. Even if his immortal primordial spirit was restored, he was no match for the Son of Heaven. The Son of Heaven was confident that he could kill Zhao Ritian and turn him into a complete part of himself. What kind of madness is he having? Sensing the crazy killing intent from the Son of Heaven, the Shaman King and the other two could not help but change their expressions. Although they instinctively felt that something was wrong and that the relationship between Zhao Ritian and the Son of Heaven was not ordinary, they were not willing to make a move. The Son of Heaven was on the verge of exploding. They were not willing to provoke such a Son of Heaven. Idiot, you want to hurt my nephew? Are you worthy? In Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness, the second master saw the Son of Heaven slowly approaching. Killing intent flashed in his eyes and an extremely terrifying aura fluctuation was emitted from his body. However, he suddenly felt some kind of aura and could not help but be slightly stunned. Rumble. In the chaotic battlefield, blazing divine light rose and the heavens and earth shook. A figure in snow-white robes instantly appeared in the battlefield. He looked handsome and elegant, but his eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. He simply threw a punch towards the Son of Heaven. Son of Heaven, you're courting death. The cold voice was like a thunderclap. The fist print was in front of the Son of Heaven in the blink of an eye. Ling Xiao? I haven't looked for you yet, but you've delivered yourself to me. You're courting death. A cold light flashed in the Son of Heaven's eyes. He instantly recognized that the white-robed figure was Ling Xiao. Terrifying energy erupted from his body and the Son of Heaven's fist met the attack. Rumble. The void trembled violently, and the blazing divine light exploded. The endless chaotic mist was annihilated one after another. The Son of Heaven's expression changed drastically. He felt that although Ling Xiao's fist print looked simple, it contained a domineering and invincible power. Even his Son of Heaven's fist could not withstand it. The Son of Heaven's body shook violently and he was sent flying. In the void, blazing divine light rose. Ling Xiao's white robes and black hair fluttered in the wind. He maintained his punching posture and his entire body seemed to be rooted in the sky. He did not retreat at all. The power of a casual punch was incredible. What? The Shaman King, the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, and the Undying Emperor Prince could not help but tremble and gasp. They knew how strong the Son of Heaven was when he unleashed his Son of Heaven's true form. Even the three of them could not withstand the full power of the Son of Heaven's true form. However, the Son of Heaven was repelled by Ling Xiao's punch. What kind of power was this? When they saw Ling Xiao, their hearts were burning with greed. They coveted the wordless heavenly book on Ling Xiao. However, this punch shattered all their greed. Son of Heaven, how dare you hurt Zhao Ritian? Do you want to die? Ling Xiao looked at the Son of Heaven indifferently. His voice was domineering and sharp. The current Ling Xiao had completely mastered the 12 sky skills. He had also obtained the power of providence from the white dragon horse and the others. He had condensed purple providence, which was why he was able to enter the battlefield of the final battle. The God Clan seal understood the heavens and earth. It even revealed everything that happened in the final battle to Ling Xiao's consciousness. Therefore, he also saw the strange battle between Zhao Ritian and the Son of Heaven. Chapter 2302. Ling Xiao, how did your combat strength increase to this extent? Tianzi's blood was boiling, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Xiao's overbearing punch was purely based on his physical strength. It made Tianzi feel as if he was facing a chaotic divine demon from ancient times. He was invincible. However, not long ago he and Ling Xiao had fought to a draw, and that was when Tianzi had not activated his heavenly emperor real body. Now that he had unleashed the strongest power of the heavenly emperor real body, he was still sent flying by Ling Xiao's punch. Nothing is immutable. Tianzi, let's settle the old and new grudges today. And the Undying Prince, no one can save you today. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His voice was extremely calm. He stepped on the void, and his clothes fluttered in the wind. He exuded an ethereal and otherworldly aura. He did not seem to have any aura of cultivation, but he seemed to be separated from Tianzi and the others by an endless time and space. He looked very mysterious. His eyes were dazzling, bright, and mysterious. They flowed with brilliant light, as if they contained the great Tao of the heavens and realms. When he looked at them, it was as if he could see through them. Arrogant. Today, it's either you die or I die. The undying prince's eyes turned cold as he said coldly. Demonic chi rose around him, and an ancient world rose, exuding an eternal aura. His life origin was incomparably thick, and it was as boundless as the vast sea. An ancient and mysterious saber appeared in his hand. It looked simple and unadorned, but it contained a peerless killing intent and sharpness. It instantly locked onto Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, you ruin my plans. I'll crush your bones and scatter your ashes. You'll never be reincarnated. Tianzi said through gritted teeth. He was extremely angry. He was only one step away from completely devouring Zhao Ritian's forbidden soul and reaching the great perfection realm. However, Ling Xiao had ruined it. A terrifying aura rose around him, causing the surrounding chaos to tremble. Vast demonic chi gushed out, and the flawless origin energy intertwined. It formed a perfect balance on Tianzi's body, causing his aura to soar again. You've cultivated the demonic technique? He deserves to die. Murderous intent flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. Tianzi's terrifying demonic chi contained a vast emperor's aura. It was obvious that he had cultivated a supreme emperor scripture of the demon race. He completely did not think that the dignified son of a heavenly emperor would actually cultivate the fiend race's imperial sutra. In addition, the demonic light around Tianzi surged like an endless hell. Countless ferocious ghostly faces were howling, and countless vengeful spirits were howling. Clearly, Tianzi had caused boundless slaughter in order to successfully cultivate this supreme imperial scripture. Rumble! Ling Xiao punched out towards Tianzi. The fist imprint was unparalleled, accompanied by a dragon's roar. The pores all over Ling Xiao's body spewed out blazing light as if it could pierce through the chaos. The moment he attacked, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked, causing the ancient chaotic battlefield to rumble and shake. Kill! Tianzi was also a little crazy. Demonic light surged around his body and the origin energy intertwined. A vast fist print soared into the sky and split into two in an instant. One was the heavenly emperor's fist. It was mighty, piercing through 3,000 worlds and suppressing invincibility. The other was the killing fist. It was wrapped in endless evil chi and resentment, causing one's mind to shake and fall into an endless hell. The terrifying fist imprint collided in the void, instantly causing the sky to rumble. The heavenly emperor's fist was unparalleled, but the heavenly emperor's divine power that erupted from Ling Xiao's body made it impossible for Tianzi to resist and resist. The heavenly emperor's fist imprint suddenly shattered. At the same time, the killing fist appeared in front of Ling Xiao's forehead like a ghost. The evil chi of hundreds of millions of vengeful spirits gushed out, wanting to directly rush into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness and completely tear his primordial spirit apart. This is the inheritance of the endless demon emperor? I didn't expect it to fall into Tianzi's hands. He really hit it well. The heavenly corpse emperor's eyes flashed and he said with some shock. The endless demon emperor was a supreme expert of the demon clan in ancient times. His status was comparable to the current undying demon emperor. He was the lord of the demon world and created the endless hell. In ancient times, he caused endless slaughter and buried hundreds of millions of creatures in the endless hell. In the end, a few great emperors from the ancient times chased after the Avicii Devil Emperor. Although they killed the Avicii Devil Emperor in the end, one of them was dragged down by the Avicii Devil Emperor and died together in the Avicii Hell. Although Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince came from a very long time ago, the era of the Seamless Demon Emperor was even older. Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince had heard of the Seamless Demon Emperor's name, but he didn't expect that the inheritance of the Seamless Demon Emperor would fall into the hands of Heavenly Sun. Tianzi's strength has reached an extremely terrifying level by integrating the Heavenly Emperor Scripture and the Endless Scripture at the same time. Without Ling Xiao, I'm afraid none of us would be a match for Tianzi. The shaman spirit king said with some shock and disappointment. Although he thought highly of himself and was regarded as a peerless genius of the sorcerer tribe in thousands of years, facing Ling Xiao and Tianzi at this moment, he still felt a sense of inferiority. Even with the integration of the two imperial scriptures, I suspect that Tianzi is still no match for Ling Xiao. The heavenly corpse emperor said with deep eyes. Boom. The fist of slaughter contained billions of wraiths from the Avicii hell. It was a kind of invisible spiritual energy. It entered Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness in an instant, trying to tear Ling Xiao's primordial spirit into pieces. These resentful spirits all transferred their hatred for Tianzi to Ling Xiao. Endless resentment and killing intent surged. Even a sage could not resist the invasion of the endless hell. Buzz. However, Ling Xiao's primordial spirit sat cross-legged in his sea of consciousness. He looked calm and composed. Radiant light radiated from his body. In the sea of consciousness where the vengeful spirits were surging, dazzling divine halos filled the air. They contained vast true will of the great path, causing Ling Xiao's primordial spirit to be enveloped in an immortal power. A total of 12 divine rings spread out, exuding an aura of chaos, immortality, and eternity. When the vast resentful spirits touched the 12 divine rings of the consciousness sea, they were instantly annihilated. Like ice melting silently, this incomparably terrifying punch was directly dispelled by Ling Xiao just like that. The inheritance of the endless demon emperor? It's just so. Ling Xiao opened his eyes and looked calmly at Tianzi in front of him, revealing a hint of mockery in his eyes. What? Chapter 2303. Sush. Ling Xiao pointed a finger at Tianzi's forehead. His finger was sparkling and translucent, containing an aura of time. It made the surrounding space seem to have stopped for a moment. Time imprisoning heavenly finger. The Emperor technique of the Time Sutra contained the power of time. It could imprison heaven and earth with unfathomable power. Tianzi only felt that when the finger came, it was as if there were invisible chains of time wrapping around him, making him feel as if he was fixed in the void. He could only watch as the finger came before his forehead. This is the power of time. Tianzi roared. His eyes were filled with madness. The divine power of the two peerless imperial scriptures burst out from his body, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. The chains of time that were binding him were broken, but Ling Xiao's finger also pierced through Tianzi's forehead. Blood light filled the air. Tianzi's entire body trembled. There seemed to be a huge wave in his sea of consciousness. He looked up to the sky and roared. A black vortex of demonic light gathered in his sea of consciousness and devoured the terrifying divine power contained in the time-imprisoning heavenly finger. Although Tianzi had blocked the attack, he was still severely injured. He staggered back, his body trembling violently. Ling Xiao had obtained the inheritance of the flowing time emperor and displayed the time-imprisoning heavenly finger. This attack was too sudden, and even Tianzi could not react in time. He was instantly injured. The energy of time was the greatest and most vast energy. It was capable of obliterating and burying everything. It could even destroy the heavens and cause all living beings to fall. Even the peerless great emperors could not withstand the erosion of time. Since ancient times, so many peerless great emperors had been buried in the long river of time. Only a few words of their deeds had been passed down. Your physical body is so strong? But you still have to die. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. Chaotic light rose from his palm and the ethereal power of fate filled the air. The aura of karma flickered and eventually formed a mysterious and ancient reincarnation. Ling Xiao threw out a punch. 4 types of supreme power gathered in his palm. It was vast and mighty as if it could annihilate everything, pressing down on Tianzi. Chaos, fate, karma, reincarnation. These 4 secret skills contain the ultimate mysteries of the universe. Although Ling Xiao had yet to fully comprehend them, He was already able to borrow a sliver of the power of the 4 secret skills and gather them into one to unleash an earth-shattering, unparalleled force. Ling Xiao, take my blade. At this moment, the Undying Prince also roared. The aura around him rose to the extreme. Terrifying blood chi rose as if the blood in his body was burning. The ancient blade in his hand rose into the air. In an instant, 100,000 feet long blade aura swept across the sky and slashed down on Ling Xiao. Undying Heavenly Blade. The Supreme Emperor art of the Undying Scripture was also one of the strongest techniques of the Undying Demon Emperor. With a single slash, it could plunder the vitality of 10,000 creatures and kill everything. The more living beings killed by the Undying Heaven Blade, the stronger the master of the Undying Heaven Blade would become. In the end, with the help of the vast and boundless life essence, the master could even unleash destructive power. While Ling Xiao and Tianzi were fighting, the Undying Prince activated his Undying Emperor blood and accumulated his blade aura to the extreme. Then he unleashed this ultimate attack. Undying Prince? I let you escape last time. This time, let's see where you can escape to. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. A bright light appeared in his other hand. It contained the aura of yin and yang and the 5 elements. In an instant, it turned into a dazzling rainbow light. Boom! Ling Xiao's palm slammed toward the Undying Prince. The rainbow light rose majestically and shrouded the Undying Prince. The rainbow light was a peerless secret technique that Ling Xiao had comprehended after comprehending the 5 elements secret technique and the yin-yang secret technique. It contained the power of the 5 elements and the yin-yang secret technique. The Undying Heavenly Sword used by the Undying Prince was indeed very powerful. Ling Xiao also wanted to test the power of the rainbow light. He instantly attacked the Undying Prince. At the same time, Ling Xiao did not stop chasing after Tianzi. The 4 imperial palm print contained the power of the 4 elements. It sealed the surrounding chaotic void and pressed down on Tianzi. Boom! There was a hint of madness in Tianzi's eyes as he roared. Half of his body was covered in black demonic light while the other half was covered in blazing chaotic aura. They intertwined and formed a huge yin-yang tai chi diagram that shot towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, let's see if you can break my divine demon diagram. Tianzi said coldly. The yin-yang tai chi diagram contained the power of the divine demon. It was a peerless secret technique that Tianzi had created himself. It could seal everything and had an extremely strong defensive power. This was Tianzi's attempt to merge the Seamless Sutra and the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. It also represented his ambition. He wanted to break away from the Tao of the Seamless Demon Emperor and the Heavenly Emperor and walk his own path. Ling Xiao's expression was indifferent. Facing the attacks of Tianzi and the Undying Prince at the same time, he did not retreat. Instead, he took the initiative to attack. He won with the 4 imperial palm print and the 7-colored divine light. The 4 imperial palm print was extremely powerful. It suddenly hit the divine demon diagram, causing the void to shake violently. Endless demonic light and chaotic chi exploded. The divine demon diagram also became extremely bright in an instant. Tianzi's body shook violently and he was sent flying. However, what surprised Ling Xiao was that the divine demon diagram was extremely sturdy. It was not destroyed by his palm. Clang! The Undying Heavenly Blade released a blazing saber light. The huge saber seemed to be able to destroy everything. However, when it collided with the 7-colored divine light, it seemed to have slashed through the air and lost its lock on Ling Xiao. What made the Undying Prince's face change drastically was that the 7-colored divine light contained the power of the 5 elements of yin and yang. It flowed endlessly and continuously destroyed the power of the Undying Heavenly Blade. In the end, the terrifying saber light exploded. The Undying Prince was sent flying. His chi and blood were in turmoil. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Although he had overestimated Ling Xiao's combat strength, when he really faced Ling Xiao, he found that the gap between him and Ling Xiao had become huge. The Undying Heavenly Blade that he had used all his strength to attack was easily destroyed by the 7-colored divine light. Just with the 2 of you? Do you think you are qualified to fight for the position of the chosen one? Ling Zhao's eyes were cold, but his attacks did not stop at all. There was no aura of smoke or fire around him, but his attacks contained supreme power. Every move he made contained the power to suppress everything. Tianzi and the Undying Prince roared and exploded with their strongest power. Even their great emperor bloodline and supreme emperor scripture were activated. However, they were still at a disadvantage. Kill! The Shaman King and the Heavenly Corpse Prince looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. They instantly jumped up and attacked. Chapter 2304. The Sorcerer King and the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince finally made their move. They had been watching the battle and realized that even though the Son of Heaven and the Undying Prince had joined forces, they were still suppressed by Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao's strength had shocked them. However, whether it was the Chosen One or the wordless heavenly book on Ling Zhao, they coveted it and could not give up. They had noticed that Ling Zhao and Zhao Ritian had a good relationship, so they wanted to take this opportunity to capture Zhao Ritian. Perhaps this could make Ling Zhao hesitate. You're courting death. Ling Zhao also noticed that the Sorcerer King and the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince had attacked Zhao Ritian. Cold light flashed in his eyes and he was about to give up the battle with the Son of Heaven and the Undying Prince to rescue Zhao Ritian. Ling Zhao, you haven't broken my celestial demon diagram, and you want to leave? The Son of Heaven sneered. Blazing divine light rose from his body and the celestial demon diagram spun, sprinkling down divine chains of order and suppressing Ling Zhao. He had noticed the actions of the Sorcerer King and the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince. He could not let Ling Zhao go to rescue Zhao Ritian, so he decisively stopped Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao, taste the power of my immortal seal. The Undying Prince's eyes also turned cold and he sneered. He punched out, and an ancient fist print swept across the void, containing immortal fluctuations and majestic vitality. It was surrounded by mysterious runes as if it could devour all vitality. As soon as the immortal seal appeared, Ling Zhao felt that the vitality in his body was a little chaotic, as if it was going to rush out of his body and rush toward the immortal seal. Get lost! Ling Zhao's eyes were overflowing with murderous intent. 7-colored heavenly light rose from his palm, containing the power to disintegrate and destroy everything. In an instant, it bloomed mightily, covering the sky and covering the sun like a vast 7-colored ocean. Buzz! In Ling Zhao's palm, the flipping sky seal bloomed with blazing light, like an ancient mountain, and suppressed the Sorcerer King and the Undying Prince. The power of the flipping sky seal was unparalleled. In addition, the device spirit of the flipping sky seal, Thunder Spirit King, had already reached the sage realm. He practiced the secret skill of divine punishment in the flipping sky seal every day. Thus, he was extremely powerful. Ling Zhao also hoped that the sky flipping seal would be able to stop the Shaman King and the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince temporarily. After he defeated the Emperor and the Undying Emperor Prince, he would come back to rescue Zhao Ritian. You want to stop us with a mere saint treasure? In your dreams! The Sorcerer King sneered. The muscles all over his body burst out with violent power. He threw a punch, trying to blow the flipping sky seal away. He was a peerless genius of the Sorcerer tribe. The Sorcerer tribe was best at refining their bodies, and their bodies were extremely powerful. The body of the Sorcerer King was even comparable to a holy treasure. In his opinion, he could blow up the flipping sky seal with one punch. Rumble! The flipping sky seal was ancient and mysterious. In an instant, blazing thunderbolts burst out from it. They were mighty like divine punishment. The thunderbolts intertwined and twisted like dragons. They contained terrifying destructive power and collided with the Sorcerer King in an instant. The void vibrated violently. Not only was the flipping sky seal not blown away as the Shaman Spirit King had imagined, but the terrible thunder vibrated and made him tremble all over. The electric current raged on his body, making his hair sizzle. The Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince's eyes flashed. He flapped his wings and shuttled through the thunderbolts to avoid the bombardment of the secret skill of divine punishment. He was from the zombie tribe and hated this kind of power. The secret skill of divine punishment seemed to have a natural restraint on him. He was unable to get close to Zhao Ritian for a while. The Flipping Sky Seal, or the Flipping Sky Emperor Seal. In Zhao Ritian's consciousness sea, the second master saw the Flipping Sky Seal floating in the void. His eyes were filled with nostalgia as he sighed softly. Swoosh. The next moment, he turned into a dazzling streamer and rushed out of Zhao Ritian's consciousness sea. In an instant he entered the Flipping Sky Seal. The Thunder Spirit King, who was controlling the Flipping Sky Seal to fend off the enemy, suddenly trembled. He felt as though he was being stared at by an ancient beast. His body stiffened and he could not move. "Who are you?" the Thunder Spirit King asked in a trembling voice. "Don't worry. Lend me the Flipping Sky Seal temporarily." These two dared to attack Dihao. "It's time to teach them a lesson." An old and majestic voice rang in the Thunder Spirit King's ears. "Who's Dihao?" The Thunder Spirit King was stunned and asked doubtfully. However, the voice did not answer him. The Flipping Sky Seal moved instantly. Rumble. The Flipping Sky Seal trembled slightly. In the next moment, a vast and unparalleled power gushed out from the Flipping Sky Seal. Its power suddenly increased by dozens of times. It was like a dazzling sun crossing the sky. When the Shaman Spiritual King and the Heaven Corpse Emperor's son discovered that the thunderbolts in the Flipping Sky Seal had dissipated, they wanted to capture Zhao Ritian in one go. However, they suddenly felt an extremely dangerous aura erupting. The Flipping Sky Seal fell from the sky with destructive power. It was majestic, ancient, and immortal, as though it could break the heavens and earth. What? The Shaman Spiritual King and the Heaven Corpse Emperor's son could not help but tremble. Their eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. The power that erupted from the Flipping Sky Seal made their scalps tingle. Without thinking, blazing divine light gushed out from their bodies. They directly exploded with their strongest power and met the Flipping Sky Seal head-on. Rumble. The two dazzling torrents collided with the Flipping Sky Seal. In an instant, the sky shook and the two torrents collapsed. The Shaman Spiritual King and the Heaven Corpse Emperor's son trembled violently. They felt as though they had collided with an indestructible mountain and were directly thrown out. "How dare you two ants attack Dihao?" The cold voice exploded in the void. It contained an ancient and majestic fluctuation. The Shaman Spiritual King and the Heaven Corpse Emperor's son could not help but change their expressions. "Who are you?" the Shaman Spiritual King asked coldly. Rumble. The Flipping Sky Seal fell from the sky and floated above Zhao Ritian's head. It sprinkled rays of dazzling light and formed a mysterious bounded domain to protect Zhao Ritian. The voice did not sound again. It was as if it did not care about the Shaman Spiritual King and the Heaven Corpse Emperor's son. "Damn it!" The Heaven Corpse Emperor's son growled. His fangs were sharp and his bloody eyes were ferocious. He felt extremely aggrieved. They did not expect Zhao Ritian to be protected by a mysterious expert. Although they did not know who that person was, they vaguely guessed that there was an extremely powerful device spirit hidden in the Flipping Sky Seal. The bounded domain formed by the Flipping Sky Seal was extremely powerful. Even if the two of them attacked together, it would be difficult to break the bounded domain in a short period of time. The only thing we can do now is to kill Ling Xiao first. Chapter 2305. Boom. Majestic chi and blood surged around the Sorcerer King. Dazzling runes rose one after another, causing the muscles all over his body to swell up. The Shaman King was originally more than 10 feet tall, but now his body expanded, and in an instant he turned into a giant that was dozens of feet tall. His body was full of explosive power, ancient, primitive, and mysterious, as if he could destroy everything. He punched toward Ling Xiao. His huge fist was like a small mountain, blooming with a blazing fist radiance. The Heaven Corpse Emperor's son suddenly roared. His voice was extremely sharp, containing a terrifying sound wave that could make one's primordial spirit tremble. He bared his fangs and spread his wings, which were like clouds in the sky. His body exuded an extremely terrifying aura. The Heaven Corp's Emperor's son trembled, and in an instant he turned into a blood-red lightning and shot toward Ling Xiao. At this moment, Ling Xiao was fighting with the Son of Heaven and the Undying Prince, with blazing divine light rising around him. No matter how the Son of Heaven and the Undying Prince attacked, Ling Xiao blocked them all. At this moment, seeing that the Shaman King and the Heaven Corp's Emperor's son had joined in, Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a cold light. "You're courting death. I was going to spare your lives, but since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Ling Xiao shouted coldly. Blazing divine light rose around him, and he punched toward the Shaman King. The Shaman King's ancient divine power was extremely terrifying. It came from the ancient sorcerer tribe, and it was not inferior to the geniuses of the demon clan. However, when he faced Ling Xiao, he realized how terrifying Ling Xiao was. The void shook violently, and the sky in all directions shook as if billions of stars were sprinkling down. The Sorcerer King felt an unparalleled divine power coming from Ling Xiao's fist. It was as vast as the sea, and he suddenly retreated. "Get lost." After Ling Xiao repelled the Shaman Spirit King, a blazing divine light rose from his body, and he slammed his palm toward the Heavenly Corp's Imperial Prince. The huge palm print, which contained the powerful law of the Great Path, directly slammed into the Heavenly Corp's Imperial Prince. The wings of the Heavenly Corp's Imperial Prince were as sharp as blades. They collided with Ling Xiao's palms, and the sound of metal colliding rang out. He wanted to cut off Ling Xiao's palms. However, Ling Xiao's palm was extremely sturdy and filled with an immortal luster. It directly slapped the Heavenly Corp's Imperial Prince down from the sky. "Your flesh has reached its limit? You actually want to turn your body into a saint?" The Shaman King stared at Ling Xiao in disbelief. Sanctifying one's physical body was a path that countless experts yearned for. It was also the most difficult path. Legend had it that experts who could sanctify their physical bodies would be immortal and immortal once they reached the pinnacle. The Shaman Spirit King's body was incomparably powerful, and he had the talent of the sorcerer tribe. Naturally, he also wanted to walk the path of body sanctification. However, he also knew the difficulty of body sanctification. Even though his body was incomparably powerful now, there was still a long way to go before body sanctification. But now, he realized that Ling Xiao's physical body was not far from sanctifying. In other words, it was only one step away. A genius of the sorcerer tribe? Your body is very strong, but unfortunately, you have taken the wrong path. It's just wishful thinking for you to achieve body sanctification. Ling Xiao glanced at the Shaman King indifferently and said, "Arrogant. How can you judge my Tao at will? Ling Xiao, if you don't want to die, hand over the wordless heavenly book, then kneel down and beg for mercy. We can spare your life." The Shaman King stared at Ling Xiao gloomily and said, "The Heavenly Corp's Imperial Prince, the Undying Imperial Prince, and the Emperor stood in the other three directions of Ling Xiao. The four supreme talents surrounded Ling Xiao, and an extremely dangerous aura erupted from their bodies. They locked onto Ling Xiao, who was in the center, as if they were going to launch a fatal blow at any time. Their eyes were filled with powerful battle intent and killing intent. Now that it was the final battle, they did not hold back at all. They all chose to work together to fight against the enemy. "Just with you? Ridiculous." Ling Xiao said calmly. His eyes were as sharp as a knife, and a blazing killing intent rose in his heart. The Emperor and the Undying Imperial Prince were already dead in his heart. Although the Shaman King and the Heavenly Corp's Imperial Prince had no enmity with Ling Xiao, they had chosen to attack Ling Xiao because they coveted the wordless heavenly book and became his enemies. To his enemies, he had to be as ruthless as the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. Rumble. Ling Xiao was surrounded by a terrifying aura and circles of bright divine light, which contained the mysterious Great Tao precepts, spread out. There were a total of 12 divine rings, which represented the vast power of the 12 sky skills. Ling Xiao, who was in the center, had a mysterious feeling that nothing could invade him. "Ling Xiao, you can kill those three bastards, but the Emperor's body must not suffer too much damage. You have to find a way to destroy the Emperor's primordial spirit. At this moment, an ancient and mysterious voice sounded in Ling Zhao's mind. You are the mysterious living spirit in Zhao Ritian's body? Or you? Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. After thinking for a moment, he guessed the origin of this voice and secretly asked, Ahem, you can call me second uncle. The emperor's body and fate belong to Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian's real name is Di Hao, and he is the real son of the Emperor of Heaven. Second uncle coughed softly. What? Ling Zhao's body trembled, and his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. Ling Zhao's attention was completely attracted by second uncle's words. Di Hao? The real son of the Emperor of Heaven? Second uncle's words set off a storm in Ling Zhao's mind. He could not believe it, and for a moment he was slightly distracted. Just as Ling Zhao was distracted, the Emperor, the Undying Imperial Prince, the Shaman King, and the Heavenly Corpse Imperial Prince discovered the flaw in Ling Zhao's body and attacked at the same time. The four of them were peerless geniuses, so they naturally knew how to make use of the flaw to explode with a powerful blow. Rumble! 4 blazing divine lights suddenly burst out, containing the vast power of the great Tao precepts. They intertwined with each other and attacked Ling Zhao from all directions, drowning him in an instant. The Emperor of Heaven's fist suppressed the surroundings, the immortal seal destroyed everything, the sorcerer ancestor's palm was unparalleled, and the Heavenly Corpse saber cut through the sky. The 4 peerless geniuses used their most powerful killing power and directly bombarded Ling Zhao's body. The space trembled, and the blazing divine light around Ling Zhao exploded. The runes were destroyed, and the 12 eternal divine rings began to shatter inch by inch in the face of such a terrifying attack. Kill. Chapter 2306. Zhao Ritian's body had completely disappeared, leaving behind only a trace of his primordial spirit that was wrapped in a dazzling light. It was enshrouded in a dazzling divine glow, looking like a mysterious world. The 10,000 Emperor's spirit lock destiny curse that imprisoned Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit and fate had been completely broken. Zhao Ritian felt his primordial spirit relax. It was an unprecedented restraint, like a baby in his mother's womb. It was incomparably warm. Vaguely, Zhao Ritian seemed to see a vast and mysterious memory world hidden in the depths of his primordial spirit. Heaven and earth were black and yellow, and the universe was chaotic. Above the vast and ancient land, a huge altar towered into the sky. It looked simple and mysterious. There were various ancient runes engraved on it. Each rune contained a vast amount of energy, making the power of the entire altar terrifying to the extreme. Around the altar, there were many corpses of giant beasts. These beasts were thousands of feet or even tens of thousands of feet in size. There were white tigers with snow-white bodies, huge fire dragons that were tens of thousands of feet long, shrouded in flames, and huge demonic birds that were covered in scales and had sword-like wings. These giant beasts contained a vast amount of vitality. At this moment, a vast amount of vitality surged into the altar and was continuously devoured by the altar. On the altar, there was an ancient and mysterious statue. It was a middle-aged man. He was tall and seemed to be able to support the heavens and earth. His face was a little blurry, but his eyes contained an invincible aura that looked down on the world and suppressed the heavens. It was just a statue, but it contained an invincible aura that could suppress everything. Its aura was extremely terrifying. At this moment, there were countless human experts wearing beast skins around the altar. Their eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship as they respectfully knelt down before the statue. Long live the Heavenly Emperor! May the Heavenly Emperor bless the human race and make it prosperous. May the Celestial Emperor be immortal and lead us to exterminate all of those demon bastards. Voices rang out, vast and majestic. They rumbled in the void, causing the sky to tremble at the same time. On the huge altar, there was a magnificent heavenly palace floating above the sea of clouds. It was like an eternal sun, blooming with endless radiance. This was the residence of the human race's ruler, the Heavenly Emperor. Big Brother Yuan, you're amazing. Of the 9 swords of the human sovereign that my father imparted to you, you managed to cultivate to the 6th sword so quickly, unlike me who still can't comprehend the 3rd sword. In a garden in the heavenly palace, hundreds of flowers were in full bloom, contending with each other in their beauty. There was a little boy who looked like he was carved from jade. He looked like he was only 4 or 5 years old, but he was very beautiful. He blinked his big clear eyes, and his eyelashes were very long. At this moment, his eyes were filled with worship. In front of him stood a young man in white. He looked handsome and extraordinary. He put away the long sword in his hand and turned to smile at the little boy. How, you're slacking off again. Emperor Father said that the 9 swords of the human sovereign must be comprehended by oneself. If I teach you, I will be harming you. If you don't cultivate properly, how will you follow in Imperial Father's footsteps in the future and conquer the heavens? Yuan patted the little boy's head and smiled dotingly. I don't care. I'm still a child. I'll follow Imperial Father and conquer the world. Having Big Brother Yuan is enough. I'm tired again. The little boy's eyes revealed a trace of craftiness. He turned around and jumped onto a stone chair. He lay down on it and grabbed a spiritual fruit and threw it into his mouth. How? You have Imperial Father's bloodline. You are the son of heaven and the future hope of the human tribe. Now that your cultivation has reached the peak of the divine king realm, when you become a sage, I'm afraid even I won't be your match. You're just too naughty. Yuan shook his head helplessly. However, there was a strange glint in his eyes when he looked at Dihao. Big Brother Yuan, cultivation is too tiring. I don't want to be the son of heaven. You have to work hard. Imperial Father's inheritance is waiting for you. Who knows, you might be the next Emperor Yuan Tian. Dihao said with a smile. His face was full of smiles. I really don't know what to do with you. Yuan shook his head and said, Big Brother Yuan, the demon tribe has been chased out of the divine world by Imperial Father. Now that the human tribe has become the master of the divine world, why does Imperial Father still want to kill those demon bastards? I hope Imperial Father can play with me. Dihao said in a bored tone. Although the demon tribe has been chased out of the divine world, the demon tribe has a strong foundation. They used to be the epic master during the Antiquity Age. They can't be underestimated. The human tribe and the demon tribe are mortal enemies. If we don't kill the demon tribe, I'm afraid the human tribe will be in big trouble when they recover their strength. Imperial Father's action is to get rid of all future troubles for the human tribe. Yuan explained slowly. However, it's still too risky to kill our way into the demon realm. Dihao said worriedly. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding sky shook violently. The sun in the void turned black. Strong winds blew and dark clouds roared. Blood rain fell from the sky as if the heavens were crying. Crack. On the huge altar, the celestial emperor's statue actually cracked open from its forehead. Streams of blood flowed out from it. It looked extremely tragic. Blood rained from the sky? Did a great emperor fall? What's going on? Oh no, the heavenly emperor's statue broke. Did something happen to the heavenly emperor? Impossible. How is this possible? His Majesty the Celestial Emperor swept through the heavens, suppressing all enemies. Even a devil emperor was killed by him. Who can kill him? Horrified voices rang out in the heavenly palace. Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. The entire heavenly palace began to boil at this moment. Many human race experts were in a state of chaos. People kept going out to inquire about the news, wanting to know what had happened. However, there was news soon. To be exact, it was the news spread by the demon tribe. The heavenly emperor led many followers to hunt down the demon tribe experts. However, they were ambushed in the demon realm. The 5 demon emperors in the demon realm, the light demon emperor, the heavenly demon emperor, the blood prison demon emperor, the original demon emperor, and the undying demon emperor, joined forces with the 5 great emperors from the sorcerer tribe, the ghost tribe, and other races. A total of 10 great emperors set up a trap to kill the heavenly emperor. They set up an inescapable trap. Not only did the 10 great emperors use the 10 great emperor weapons, but the demon realm also took out the wordless heavenly book, which had been hidden for a long time, to trap the heavenly emperor in the demon realm. In the end, all of the heavenly emperor's followers died in the battle. The heavenly emperor went completely mad. Chapter 2307. In one battle, he had killed 7 great emperors and severely injured 3 great emperors. Although this glorious battle record was enough to shock the universe and make all living beings tremble in fear, the heavenly emperor had still fallen. One of the heavenly emperor's 2 great emperor weapons, the heavenly emperor seal, was destroyed and the heavenly emperor sword was severely damaged. The divine realm felt it and the heavens wailed in sorrow as blood rained down. When the news spread to the divine realm, the humans found it hard to believe. Many of them were heartbroken and some even fainted from crying. The entire divine realm was covered with a layer of sadness. The Sky Emperor was the most astonishing figure of the human race in recent years. Before the appearance of the Sky Emperor, the human race was incomparably miserable. It was the darkest days of the human race. They were wantonly humiliated by the demon race and became food for the demon race. They lived lives worse than beasts. It was the heavenly emperor's appearance that led the human race to rise step by step. He chased the demon race out of the divine realm and led the human race to power and glory. Now, the human race had become the master of the divine realm and there were many experts in the human race. Many of them were ambitious and wanted to follow the heavenly emperor to conquer the universe. But now, there was news of the heavenly emperor's death. How could the humans not be sad? The heavenly emperor had an extremely high prestige in the human race. His death was like the light that led the human race to the end. In an instant, the divine realm fell into a state of chaos. In the heavenly palace, Di Yuan and Di Hao were completely stunned by the news. "Father!" Di Hao shouted. His little face became extremely pale and tears fell from his big clear eyes. His eyes were filled with fear and one could not help but feel pity for him. He was only 5 years old. Although he was still young, he had inherited the heavenly emperor's peerless bloodline and supreme talent. He matured much earlier than the average person and naturally understood the significance of the heavenly emperor's death. When he thought that he would never see his father again, he was extremely sad. His heart was filled with great fear and loneliness. It was as if he was the only one left in this vast world. "Father!" Di Yuan was also shocked. He took a deep breath and there was an extremely complicated look in his eyes. Although he was only an orphan picked up by the heavenly emperor and adopted by the heavenly emperor treated him as his own son and had always taught him well. It was impossible to say that he was not sad. But the celestial emperor's death also made him heave a sigh of relief in his heart. At the very least, that plan could be implemented. "Brother Yuan, I don't believe that father will die." His father, Di Tianzong, was invincible in this world. There was no one who could kill him. "I want to find Imperial Father. I want to find Imperial Father," Di Hao said as he gripped Di Yuan's arm tightly. Then, he gritted his teeth and turned to leave. Bang! However, at this moment, Di Hao felt a heavy blow on his back. He could not help but see darkness before he fainted. When Di Hao woke up in his sea of consciousness, he found himself tied to a cold stone pillar. The surroundings were incomparably dim. This was a secret room. Only the fluorite above his head sprinkled down a little bit of light. "It hurts." Di Hao's face paled as cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He saw the chains actually pierce through his collarbone, emitting a bone-chilling coldness. They bound him to the stone pillar, sealing his cultivation so that he couldn't move at all. Buzz! There was a crisp sound of a sword ringing. The darkness in front of Di Hao slowly dispersed. A figure in white, holding an ancient sword in his hand, appeared. His eyes were burning with passion. "Brother Yuan." Di Hao was stunned. The youth in white in front of him was Di Yuan. "Di Hao, do you recognize this sword?" Di Yuan slowly turned around. His face was incomparably cold. He no longer had his usual smile and doting look. Instead, there was only a haughty attitude. Imperial Father's Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword? Why is it in your hands? Di Hao's body trembled as his eyes were filled with disbelief. According to the news, after the Celestial Emperor fell, the Celestial Emperor's seal was destroyed and broken into pieces. The Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword was also severely damaged. However, it had disappeared and no one knew who had it. Now, seeing the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword in Di Yuan's hands, Di Hao was naturally in disbelief. Because this is the sword-nurturing pool of the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword. The Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword is an extreme Tao Emperor weapon. Even if it was severely damaged in the battle and its weapon spirit was destroyed, it will still return to the sword-nurturing pool. Do you understand? Di Yuan said plainly. Sword-nurturing pool? Brother Yuan, what are you trying to do? Why did you tie me up? Di Hao's heart trembled as he asked Di Yuan. Because you have the complete inheritance of the Celestial Emperor Scripture. Only your Celestial Emperor bloodline can activate the Celestial Emperor Scripture and nourish the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword. How, can you give me your Celestial Emperor bloodline? Di Yuan smiled faintly. However, his smile was extremely cold in Di Hao's eyes. Even his voice contained a fluctuation that sent chills down one's spine. Di Hao's heart slowly sank. You want to kill me? Di Hao's voice trembled. To be exact, I want to take over your body. How? If I take over your physical body, your Celestial Emperor bloodline, the Celestial Emperor Scripture, and the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword, do you think I will become the true Emperor? Di Yuan said with a smile. However, the content of his words made Di Hao tremble. Brother Yuan, why are you doing this to me? If you want the Celestial Emperor Scripture and the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword, I can give them to you. Why do you have to kill me? Di Hao stared at Di Yuan in disbelief as he spoke. His eyes were filled with anger and sorrow. His little face grew increasingly pale as his body trembled. It was as though he was going to faint at any moment. The Celestial Emperor had perished in the demon world. He had yet to recover from this grievous news. Brother Yuan, whom he was extremely close to and respected, actually wanted to kill him and take over his Celestial Emperor bloodline? But why do you think? Why should you be respected by everyone just because you are the son of the Celestial Emperor? Why should I be bullied by countless people? Why should you be born with the Celestial Emperor bloodline? Why should your cultivation improve by leaps and bounds? Why should you be able to easily reach the realm that I have always dreamed of without any effort? Why should that old thing pass the Celestial Emperor Scripture to you but keep his mouth shut about me? Do you know how hard I worked? Do you know how much I suffered in order to gain his recognition? You don't know anything. You don't understand anything. However, you have obtained everything. Chapter 2308. But Father has been so nice to you. Why would you think that? Di Hao looked at Di Yuan's distorted face and was completely stunned. He suddenly felt that Di Yuan was a stranger. The brother Yuan who used to dote on him seemed to have disappeared completely and was filled with a sense of distance. Di Hao did not know why Di Yuan would think that way, but he knew that Di Yuan would not let him go today. Nice to me? Hee, do you think I will believe that? That old thing is already dead. Today I will send you to see him. But don't worry, I will make good use of your bloodline and body. From today onwards, I will be the true emperor. Di Yuan's eyes were filled with a cold smile as he walked towards Di Hao slowly. Buzz. A small silver knife appeared in Di Yuan's palm. It looked extremely sharp and was shining brightly. Di Yuan's name was engraved on it. It was the sacred treasure that the Sky Emperor had given to Di Yuan. Di Yuan held the silver knife and slowly stabbed it towards Di Hao's heart. There was a flash of blood-red light, and the silver knife sank into Di Hao's chest. A bloody hole appeared, and golden blood slowly flowed out of the silver knife. Brother Yuan, it hurts. Di Hao's face was extremely pale. He was murmuring and his eyes were filled with a pitiful look. His cultivation was sealed. The silver knife seemed to contain a power fluctuation that could devour everything. It sucked out all the blood in Di Hao's body. A golden pool of blood appeared around Dihao. It contained an extremely majestic power fluctuation. It was majestic and mysterious. After seeing the golden pool of blood, Diyuan's eyes became heated. This was the blood in Dihao's body. It contained the Sky Emperor's bloodline and the Sky Emperor's ultimate inheritance. It was like a key. Only the Sky Emperor's bloodline could open the Sky Emperor scripture and the Sky Emperor sword and control everything that the Sky Emperor had left behind. Diyuan's expression was extremely cold. It was as if he did not care about Dihao's life or death. All his attention was on the flowing golden blood. As Dihao lost too much blood, his face was as pale as paper. His life force became extremely weak. He was like a candle flame in the wind that could be extinguished at any time. "Father," Dihao murmured as if he had completely fainted. His thin body was curled up into a ball, looking extremely pitiful. At this juncture of life and death, perhaps only the benevolent smile and love of the Celestial Emperor could give him some warmth. Now is the time. Diyuan carefully observed the changes in Dihao's body. His expression was indifferent. When Dihao's blood ran dry, his eyes flashed and he drew a talisman in the void. A black talisman turned into a mysterious devouring vortex and imprinted itself between Dihao's eyebrows. Dihao's forehead seemed to have cracked open. His sea of consciousness was vast and boundless like the starry sky. It was incomparably mysterious. Dihao's primordial spirit was completely golden. It sat cross-legged in his sea of consciousness and emitted an impenetrable fluctuation. Just as the black rune entered Dihao's forehead and was about to pull his primordial spirit out of his sea of consciousness, the void suddenly shook. Rumble! Blazing divine light gushed out. Dihao's primordial spirit emitted an ancient and mysterious light. Its aura was vast and unparalleled. An ancient figure appeared. The figure was surrounded by endless chaotic light, as if it was the Lord of all spirits. It emitted an invincible aura that suppressed the heavens, causing people's hearts to palpitate. The real body of the Celestial Emperor? Diyuan's body shook. His eyes were filled with fear and passion. He was afraid because the aura of the real body of the Celestial Emperor was too terrifying. He felt that just a wisp of aura was enough to kill him completely, leaving nothing behind. The passion was because this was the last real body of the Celestial Emperor. Not only did it have the inheritance of the Celestial Emperor's scripture, but it also had various insights and divine skills of the Celestial Emperor. If he could refine this real body of the Celestial Emperor, he would be able to obtain all of the Celestial Emperor's inheritance. Under the protection of the real body of the Celestial Emperor, Dihao's primordial spirit had an impenetrable aura. It was as if no force could hurt him. Fortunately, I was prepared. Although the real body of the Celestial Emperor is powerful, you don't have the support of the Celestial Emperor's bloodline. You can't unleash the power of the real body of the Celestial Emperor. Diyuan sneered. The runes on his palm shone brightly. In an instant, a black pearl appeared. It emitted a vast demonic light and its aura was extremely terrifying. It was as if it could destroy one's primordial spirit. Anyone who looked at it would feel their heart tremble. This was the soul fixation pearl. It was a supreme treasure that was given to Diyuan by the Lord. It could separate one's primordial spirit and fix one's fate. It was extremely mysterious. Buzz. As the soul fixation pearl flew up, it turned into a black stream of light and landed above Dihao's primordial spirit. Dihao's sea of consciousness shook slightly. The soul fixation pearl sprinkled down mysterious rune boundaries and quietly covered Dihao's primordial spirit. The real body of the Celestial Emperor seemed to be unable to sense any danger and slowly disappeared. How? Let me devour your primordial spirit. From today onwards, you and I will become one. I will be the real son of the Celestial Emperor, the future Yuan Celestial Emperor. Diyuan's voice was extremely cold and slowly sounded. Rumble. A blazing blood-red light erupted from Diyuan's body. Divine light bloomed between his eyebrows and his powerful primordial spirit instantly flew out from his sea of consciousness. It was like a blood-red sun that contained boundless vitality. Endless blood chi spewed out from his physical body and merged with Diyuan's primordial spirit. His physical body turned into ashes at a speed visible to the naked eye. After devouring the essence of his physical body, Diyuan's primordial spirit turned into a streak of blood-red light and instantly flew into Di Hao's sea of consciousness. Diyuan's blood-red primordial spirit gave off the same aura as Di Hao's primordial spirit. It was like a clone of Di Hao's primordial spirit. It silently passed through the boundary of the real body of the Celestial Emperor and arrived in front of Di Hao's primordial spirit. Diyuan's primordial spirit was filled with bloodthirsty killing intent. It looked at Di Hao's primordial spirit as if it had seen its prey. It was extremely excited and cruel. "Brother Yuan, why did you do this?" Di Hao's eyes were filled with despair. He stared at Diyuan and muttered to himself. Then he painfully closed his eyes and 2 streams of tears flowed down silently. Diyuan did not answer him. Instead, he charged forward and tore off an arm of Di Hao's primordial spirit and threw it into his blood-red mouth. His arms were eaten, then his legs, his torso, and finally his head. Chapter 2309. The moment Di Hao's primordial spirit was completely devoured by Diyuan, the surrounding void shook and a vast and powerful aura erupted from Diyuan's body. Diyuan's primordial spirit had completely occupied Di Hao's physical body, replacing his primordial spirit and entering his sea of consciousness. Rumble. At the same time, a powerful feeling welled up in his heart. Diyuan's primordial spirit shone brightly. The Celestial Emperor's true body appeared behind him, surrounded by endless chaotic light. It was like his protector, protecting him. The golden pool of blood beneath Di Hao's feet gushed out in an instant as Di Hao's body emitted a blazing golden glow. It turned into a golden blood mist and surged into his pores. From then on, Diyuan had completely replaced Di Hao. In other words, Diyuan was the real son of the Sky Emperor, Di Hao. However, before Diyuan could heave a sigh of relief, his primordial spirit suddenly trembled violently. The Sky Emperor real body began to tremble as though it was repelled by his primordial spirit and was about to leave his primordial spirit at any time. What? Damn it! Diyuan's face instantly turned pale and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He did not know why the Sky Emperor real body would undergo such a change. According to his plan, the Sky Emperor real body should have treated his primordial spirit as Di Hao's primordial spirit. How could this happen? Rumble. The Sky Emperor real body trembled more and more violently. The terrifying aura was like an erupting volcano, causing Diyuan's scalp to go numb and his mind to tremble. 10,000 emperors sealing heaven's spell. Seal him. Seal. Diyuan's eyes suddenly revealed a pained expression. A jade-colored ancient talisman appeared in his palm. It contained a mysterious fluctuation of power. In an instant, it blossomed and turned into numerous talismans. They were as resplendent as a rain of light. All of them fused into the Sky Emperor's real body. The Sky Emperor real body seemed to have been sealed by some terrifying power and finally merged with Diyuan's primordial spirit. The 10,000 emperors sealing heaven hex was a supreme opportunity that Diyuan had obtained. It was one of his most powerful trump cards. However, he had no choice but to use it to seal the heavenly emperor real. After all, the Celestial Emperor's true body contained the Celestial Emperor's supreme inheritance. He couldn't just watch the Celestial Emperor's true body disappear. What's going on? Logically speaking, after forcing out Di Hao's Celestial Emperor bloodline and swallowing his primordial spirit when he was on the brink of death, I should be able to completely fuse with the Celestial Emperor's true body. Could it be? Diyuan frowned. He could not figure out the reason behind this. However, at this moment, the space trembled slightly and an indistinct figure slowly appeared. His eyes were filled with sorrow and sadness. Diyuan, from today onwards, our relationship is severed. It was a childish voice that was filled with sorrow. Diyuan found it extremely familiar, and he could not help but raise his head abruptly. Di Hao? How are you still alive? Diyuan's body trembled and his eyes were filled with disbelief and horror. The indistinct figure in front of him was Di Hao. At this moment, it looked like a combination of reality and illusion. It looked like the most basic form of the soul, and it was staring at Diyuan with sorrow. A mysterious vortex slowly appeared behind Di Hao. It was shapeless, and it contained the fluctuations of reincarnation. It looked like it was going to suck Di Hao into it at any moment. I got it. The old man added a forbidden power to you. Your soul has become a forbidden soul. Damn it, your soul is mine. Come here. Diyuan seemed to have thought of something and his body trembled. His eyes were filled with exasperation as he reached out to grab Di Hao's soul. Diyuan, I'll be back. Di Hao took a deep look at Diyuan. His eyes contained sadness, anger, determination, and calmness. His body exuded a 9-colored divine glow. In an instant, he turned into a flowing light and was about to rush into the reincarnation cycle. Come back. Your soul can only belong to me. 10,000 Emperor's soul-locking heaven fate curse, lock him up. Diyuan roared furiously. Rumble. Unparalleled light bloomed from his palm. Divine chains of order traversed the void, and the laws of the great path descended, containing immortal and indestructible fluctuations. In an instant, they crossed the sky and entangled Di Hao's soul, wanting to lock Di Hao's soul and capture it. However, in the vast reincarnation, there was a sudden burst of power that could devour everything. It swallowed Di Hao's soul and it disappeared completely. Damn it. Forbidden soul, I must get the forbidden soul. Diyuan, you can't run away. Diyuan's angry voice resounded in the secret chamber and the void shook. Is this reincarnation? Father, I'm going to see you. Di Hao's forbidden soul was sucked into the reincarnation vortex and he saw many bizarre scenes. In the end, he became blurry and his body became transparent. Then he exploded into a rain of light and it looked extremely dazzling. In the dazzling light, Di Hao's longing eyes turned into eternity in the reincarnation. It was as if he had an extremely long dream. The people in the dream were so real and the ancient world seemed to be something he had experienced before. It was incomparably unforgettable. Memories surged like a tidal wave and all the things of the past floated in his mind. Even if he had gone through 10,000 reincarnations and endless suffering, the most precious memories were still preserved. When Zhao Ritian slowly opened his eyes, he realized that tears had already flowed out of his eyes and were flowing down silently. So, my real name is Di Hao, the son of the Heavenly Emperor. Zhao Ritian mumbled to himself and slowly stood up from the dazzling light. The vast chaotic light around him surged and turned into a majestic life force, forming a new body for him. So, I died in the hands of my good brother, Diyuan. Zhao Ritian's body exploded with an extremely powerful aura. In particular, the space between his eyebrows seemed to be emitting a dazzling divine light like a divine sun, causing the surrounding sky to rumble. So, my body is with Diyuan. So many years have passed and the world has changed. The glorious era of the 9 emperors of the human race has passed and I still met you. This is a fated battle. Diyuan, today I will take back everything that I once had. Chapter 23:10. Boom. Blazing divine light exploded in the sky. Vast great path precepts rose up like a boiling ocean. Monstrous waves rose up, and the momentum was extremely terrifying. For figures were directly sent flying. Their chi and blood were surging, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. In the middle of the dazzling divine light, it was as if a sun had risen. Ling Xiao stood in the air, and his aura was ethereal. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes exuded a peerless sharpness. Behind him, 12 dazzling divine rings floated out. They were like 12 small worlds, and they intertwined with each other. They were mysterious and unfathomable, and they made Ling Xiao feel as if he was invulnerable. How can he be so strong? The Shaman King wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His arms were trembling, and his veins were bulging. Blood was everywhere, and his body was about to crack. His peerless sorcerer ancestor body was so vulnerable in front of Ling Xiao. The Emperor, the Undying Prince, the Shaman King, and the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince had joined forces to fight against Ling Xiao. Now, they were faintly showing signs of being completely suppressed by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's attacks were like a violent storm, and his power was endless. Even when facing the 4 supreme talents at the same time, he was not at a disadvantage at all. That's the aura of the 12 Sky Skills secret skill. He actually obtained the 12 Sky Skills secret skill. The Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince's eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. The wordless heavenly book is indeed with him. The Undying Prince's eyes also revealed a blazing and fearful look. Ling Xiao's strength was far beyond their imagination. This battle was extremely fierce and difficult. The 4 supreme talents had unleashed their peerless combat strength, but they were still unable to defeat Ling Xiao. The 12 divine rings behind Ling Xiao were like 12 small worlds. They spewed out endless red light, containing the power to devour everything. It was as if they were going to devour the 4 supreme talents and completely turn them into nothingness. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. Tianzi stared at Ling Xiao, not bothering to hide the killing intent in his eyes. The stronger Ling Xiao was, the more he wanted to kill Ling Xiao. If he could get the wordless heavenly book from Ling Xiao and devour Zhao Ritian's forbidden soul, he would be able to reach the peak of the Saint Path in a short period of time. He would have a chance to enter the Supreme God realm. If you want my wordless heavenly book, let's see if you have the luck to do so. Ling Xiao's eyes were indifferent. Blazing divine light rose from his body as he punched towards the 4 of them. The wordless heavenly scripture shone brightly in Ling Xiao's spiritual sea. The mysteries of the 12 heavenly arts flowed through his spiritual sea, causing his fist to contain the strongest Tao rhythm of the 12 heavenly arts. Kill. Today either he dies or we live. Don't hold back, kill him. The Undying Prince roared and charged at Ling Xiao. Boom. Blood-red light rose up around him as a vast and boundless life force erupted. Ancient inscriptions rose up from his palm, turning into a supreme blade of light in an instant. It slashed down towards Ling Xiao in a mighty manner. The blade radiance was mighty and contained the concept of endless growth. It was as if the Undying Prince had burned his own life force in order to perform this attack. His entire body exploded in the void and turned into a bloody mist that adhered to the blade radiance, turning the blade radiance blood-red. The blood-red blade radiance seemed to be able to break through the chaos. It contained a power that made everyone's scalp tingle. This is the forbidden technique of the Undying Heavenly Blade. Ling Xiao, take a punch from me. The Shaman King's body trembled as he recognized the Undying Prince's move. In an instant, bloody light rose from his body as if an ancient power had awakened. Ancient patterns appeared all over the Sorcerer Spirit King's body, intertwining into a mysterious totem. It was an ancient figure that seemed to have come from the chaos. It sang in the sky and created an ancient civilization of the Sorcerer tribe. He threw a punch at Ling Xiao as the mysterious totem on his body shone brightly and gathered into a vast and mysterious power that merged into the punch. The Sorcerer Ancestor's Fist. This punch contained the civilization and destiny of the Sorcerer tribe and the inheritance of the Sorcerer Ancestor. It seemed to be able to pierce through the river of time and connect the 9 heavens and 10 lands. This was the ultimate power, and it was also a battle of life and death. Ling Xiao's gaze became serious. He could feel the heaven-defying power of the Undying Prince and the Shaman King. Under this attack, if Ling Xiao did not die, they would not be able to fight anymore. This was an all-out attack. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. The blazing radiance was like a domain of blades and swords. He activated the power of the wordless heavenly book to the extreme and the power of the 12 sky skills at the same time. In the end, it turned into a terrifying fist print that fell from the sky. Boom! The chaotic light that filled the sky exploded like raging waves in the boundless sea. Ling Xiao's terrifying fist print collided with the Undying Heavenly Blade. The blood-red light was blazing to the extreme. The undying heavenly blade trembled violently and broke through the layers of fist intent, leaving a deep bloody mark on the back of Ling Zhao's hand. However, Ling Zhao's punch was too powerful. In the end, it destroyed the blood-red undying heavenly blade. The blood-red light in the void dissipated without a trace. At the same time, Ling Zhao's punch did not slow down and collided with the sorcerer ancestor's fist. It was like a collision between ancient and modern time. It was a contest between the power of an individual and the power of a civilization. The fluctuations seemed to be able to destroy everything. With Ling Zhao and the Sorcerer King as the center, a vast vacuum was formed in an instant. Bang! A muffled sound came from the void. Ling Zhao and the Sorcerer King both retreated at the same time. The Sorcerer King suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His arms suddenly exploded. His whole body trembled violently and fell from the sky. Although he had unleashed the strongest power of the sorcerer ancestor's fist, he still could not bear such a terrifying power. His arm exploded, and all the strength in his body was drained. He no longer had the strength to fight. What a powerful fist intent! A trace of blood flowed from the corner of Ling Zhao's mouth. His eyes were full of shock. The sorcerer tribe was indeed the tribe that was best at refining their bodies. However, at this moment, the Heaven Corpse Emperor's son moved. He seemed to have been secretly accumulating strength. His body was surrounded by a black evil spirit. The fangs in his mouth and the wings on his back had all turned golden, exuding a power that could destroy everything. Whoosh! Chapter 23:11. The sky was filled with the afterimages of the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, but each afterimage seemed to be real, so there was no way to distinguish which one was the real one. The Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince had chosen a good time. When Ling Zhao's fist collided with the Shaman Spirit King, it was as if Ling Zhao had taken the initiative to hit the wings of the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince. Gotcha! Ling Zhao felt a sense of crisis and did not dare to be careless. His arm exuded a blazing golden light and suddenly swept behind him. Sparks flew everywhere, and the void exploded. Ling Zhao's arm collided with the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince's wings, but before Ling Zhao could do anything, the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince's wings suddenly slid open and slashed at Ling Zhao's neck again. Boom! 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 Ling Zhao's fists were like dragons, and each of his fists contained a vast power. They constantly collided with the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, but the wings of the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince seemed to contain a wave of power that could break everything. Ling Zhao's arms, body, and neck were left with bloody marks, and a kind of black evil qi and corpse poison permeated the air, trying to enter Ling Zhao's body. The most powerful thing about the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince was not his combat power, but the Heavenly Corpse Poison. The Heavenly Corpse Poison was passed down from the blood of the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, and it came from the Heaven Corpse Emperor. Even a saint had no way to remove the Heavenly Corpse Poison. The wings of the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince, after countless years of tempering, had become a top holy treasure. Even though Ling Zhao's body was strong, it was impossible for him to completely resist it, and he still suffered some injuries. The Heavenly Corpse Baleful Poison entered Ling Zhao's body, and soon his whole body turned black. His body became stiff, as if he was going to turn into a zombie at any time. What a powerful corpse poison! Ling Zhao's eyes were cold. The Heavenly Corpse Poison was so terrifying that even his devouring sky secret skill could not completely remove it. If it was someone else, there was no doubt that they would be dead by now. However, the wordless Heavenly Book was different from the past. After Ling Zhao obtained the 12 sky skills, the wordless Heavenly Book became a little different, as if it had begun to awaken and began to show a different mysterious power. With a move of Ling Zhao's mind, the wordless Heavenly Book shone brightly, and the Heavenly Corpse Poison began to be devoured by the wordless Heavenly Book. Gotcha! But right at this moment, a sudden change occurred. An extremely terrifying power actually erupted from Ling Zhao's blood. It turned into blood-red chains of order in a single instance, binding Ling Zhao completely. It even forcefully sealed up his sea of consciousness. Tianzi, quickly kill Ling Zhao. The undying prince's voice came from Ling Zhao's body, sounding extremely anxious. It turned out that after the undying heavenly blade had been shattered by Ling Zhao, the undying prince had used some extremely secretive method to sneak into Ling Zhao's body. When the heavenly corpse poison had started to take effect, he had also made his move instantly. Those blood-red chains of order contained a vast amount of life energy, but they were completely different from the energy in Ling Zhao's body. They sealed all of Ling Zhao's acupuncture points, and even his sea of consciousness was sealed. "You're courting death." Ling Zhao's eyes turned cold. He didn't even know when the undying prince had entered his blood. Rumble. Ling Zhao's body surged with a vast amount of divine light as the supreme power of the 12 sky skills erupted. The blood-red chains in his body seemed to be unable to withstand it and were about to break apart completely. The heavenly corpse emperor prince seized the opportunity. His eyes were overflowing with killing intent as he suddenly soared into the sky. His wings were like clouds that covered the sky, and an extremely terrifying power erupted from his body as he directly hugged Ling Zhao. Then his golden fangs suddenly bit toward Ling Zhao's neck. Blood filled the air as the heavenly corpse emperor prince's fangs sank into Ling Zhao's neck and began to devour the blood in his body. "Ling Zhao, die for me." 10,000 Emperor's soul-locking curse. The Tianzi gritted his teeth, and an extremely painful expression appeared in his eyes. An ancient rune rose from the palm of his hand, traversed the sky in an instant, and directly imprinted between Ling Zhao's eyebrows. This 10,000 Emperor's soul-locking curse was the Tianzi's last trump card. However, he was sure that even Di Hao, who was protected by the Heavenly Emperor's real body, could not withstand the power of the 10,000 Emperor's soul-locking curse. Although Ling Zhao was strong now, it was impossible for him to resist the power of the 10,000 Emperor's soul-locking curse. Rumble. The ancient and mysterious rune imprinted between Ling Zhao's eyebrows, and in an instant, a blazing divine light burst out like a mysterious line that spread toward Ling Zhao's body and bound him. These lines were the Great Path Law, and they spread toward Ling Zhao's body, Ling Zhao's primordial spirit, and Ling Zhao's life providence, as if to completely seal Ling Zhao. In an instant, Ling Zhao suffered the most fatal crisis. Whether it was the heavenly corpse poison, the undying chains, or the 10,000 Emperor's soul-locking curse, even a saint or even a supreme saint could not resist. If an ordinary person was hit by these means, they could only obediently be captured and slaughtered. Not to mention, the heavenly corpse emperor prince was still devouring the blood in Ling Zhao's body. Ling Zhao felt that the vitality in his body was rapidly flowing away, and his whole body was about to fall into eternal darkness. "No, I can't die." Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a trace of madness. "I still have a lot of things to do. I still have to protect the most important people in my life. I haven't set foot on the peak of martial arts yet. How can I die in their hands?" Ling Zhao shouted and screamed in his heart, and his eyes turned blood red in an instant. Boom, boom. As if it sensed Ling Zhao's crisis at this moment, the wordless heavenly book shone brightly at this moment, blooming into a 9-colored divine glow that quickly spread toward Ling Zhao's body. The creation jade disc in Ling Zhao's mind also started to vibrate at this moment. Circles of mysterious Taoist rhymes started to spread out as though there were 3,000 great Taoists intertwining with each other. It contained an indescribable supreme power. The blood-red chains that wrapped around Ling Zhao's body were instantly broken, and the heavenly corpse poison was completely devoured by the wordless heavenly book. The seal formed by the 10,000 Emperor's spirit-locking curse was unexpectedly strong, and even if the wordless heavenly book and the good fortune jade disc attacked together, there was no way to break it. However, the wordless heavenly book and the good fortune jade disc were both supreme chaotic treasures, and under the suppression of the power of the two treasures, the 10,000 Emperor's spirit-locking curse was temporarily suppressed. Boom! A terrifying wave of divine light burst out from Ling Zhao's body, as if it was going to tear the sky apart, and the Shaman King and the others' faces changed drastically. The undying prince screamed, and his whole body flew out. More than half of his essence blood did not escape in time, and all of it was devoured by Ling Zhao. Only a small part of it escaped, and it reformed into the undying prince's appearance. The Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince also felt the changes in Ling Zhao's body, and he knew that this was bad. Although Ling Zhao's blood was so delicious to him, at this moment he wanted to escape without thinking. "Don't you want to suck my blood? Then stay and suck as much as you want." Ling Zhao's cold voice suddenly rang in the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince's ears. Boom! Suddenly, a vast devouring power burst out from Ling Zhao's body, and the Heaven Corpse Emperor Prince could not pull out his fangs, which were still deeply embedded in Ling Zhao's flesh. Chapter 23:12. Ling Zhao's eyes were indifferent, and a terrifying power burst out from his body. He suddenly hugged the Heavenly Corpse Imperial Prince like an ancient giant bear. He tightened his grip on the Heavenly Corpse Imperial Prince's body. With a crisp sound, the Heavenly Corpse Imperial Prince's bones were broken. Even the power he had just gathered was dispersed by Ling Zhao. With the support of the textless Heavenly Book, the heaven-devouring secret skill erupted with a terrifying power fluctuation and began to madly devour the blood of the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince. The zombie clan sucked the blood essence of people, especially the blood essence of experts, which was irresistible for them. But now, all the blood essence of the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince had been devoured by Ling Zhao, and more than half of his life essence had been lost. His eyes were full of horror. No, the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince growled, and his eyes were full of horror and begging, hoping that Ling Zhao would let him go. It's too late. Ling Zhao's eyes were full of ruthless killing intent. If the textless Heavenly Book and the Good Fortune Jade Disc had not been completely activated at the critical moment, the Heavenly Corpse evil poison alone would have been extremely troublesome for Ling Zhao. Since they were already mortal enemies, naturally, Ling Zhao would not let him go. Boom! Under the heaven-devouring secret skill's crazy devouring, all the blood in the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince's body was integrated into Ling Zhao's body, and his whole body turned into ashes at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the primordial spirit of the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince could not escape and was completely devoured by the heaven-devouring secret skill. One of the four sovereigns, the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince, had died in battle. The Witch King had used the wizard ancestor's fist, and his strength had been greatly reduced. The immortal prince had lost more than half of his immortal blood essence, and his strength was less than 10%. In the blink of an eye, only the Emperor Prince of the four sovereigns had the strength to fight. You can even suppress my 10,000 Emperor's spirit-locking curse? You really have completely refined the textless Heavenly Book? The Emperor Prince's expression was very ugly, and he stared at Ling Zhao in disbelief. You talk too much. Ling Zhao's eyes were extremely cold. The blood essence of the Heavenly Corpse Emperor Prince poured into his body, and his strength soared. He almost completely broke the limit and became a saint. Ling Zhao suppressed the urge to break through. His body was surrounded by a bloody glow as he punched towards Tianzi. The incomparably ferocious fist was like a chaotic mountain. That fierce and overbearing aura made Tianzi's face change as he hurriedly blocked it with his fist. Bang! The primal chaos light exploded, and Tianzi was directly sent flying by Ling Zhao's punch. Ling Zhao was enveloped in a blazing golden light. Runes rose from his body, and the power of laws coiled around him. His eyes were incomparably sharp, and every move he made contained the power to suppress everything. Bang, bang, bang. He walked towards the Son of Heaven, his aura rising. Every step he took caused the sky to tremble. That terrifying aura swept across the land, exuding an invincible aura. Ling Zhao, you deserve to die. Tianzi's eyes were filled with shock and anger. He had completely gone mad. Terrifying chaotic light rose around him as he launched an attack towards Ling Zhao. Boom! Ling Zhao kicked out, and the void exploded. The golden glow was dazzling, like a golden dragon emerging from the sea. It directly kicked Tianzi's chest, sending him flying once again. Ling Zhao's eyes were cold as he turned into a golden lightning. His speed was extremely fast, and in an instant he appeared behind Tianzi and directly grabbed his wrist. Tianzi was furious and immediately wanted to counterattack. However, Ling Xiao grabbed Tianzi's wrist, and a blazing lightning rose from his palm. In an instant, it surged into Tianzi's arm and rushed towards his body. The Heaven's Punishment secret technique exploded, causing Tianzi's body to tremble. The power that he had just condensed dissipated again. Ling Xiao abruptly swung Tianzi up and smashed him towards the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying divine power erupted from Ling Xiao's body. He was like an enraged ancient giant bear. That kind of power could tear the heavens and the earth apart. When Tianzi was smashed onto the ground, it caused a loud rumble. This was the final battlefield. The surroundings were sealed by the great path divine chains of order. The ground below was made of some kind of divine metal, and it was extremely sturdy. Even such a fierce battle between the supreme talents did not leave any traces. Tianzi was smashed onto the ground by Ling Xiao. Instantly, his vision turned black, and all the bones in his body were shattered. It was as if he was going to turn into a meat paste. It was extremely miserable. However, the life essence in Tianzi's body was extremely majestic, and it flowed throughout his body, causing his injuries to heal rapidly. Ling Xiao swung Tianzi up and smashed him onto the ground. Soon, Tianzi was smashed into a bloody mess, and he was about to lose his human form. This is too miserable. Shaman King and Undying Prince looked at each other and saw the twitching and fear in each other's eyes. There was even a trace of despair in each other's eyes. Now that they were severely injured, they did not have the strength to fight again. Although they were rapidly healing, they could not fight Ling Xiao in a short period of time. They could only hope that Tianzi could defeat Ling Xiao. However, it seemed that Tianzi could not even protect himself now. The final battlefield was incomparably cruel. Everyone who came here was a peerless genius. If they wanted to become the chosen one, they had to defeat everyone and fuse with all the power of fate. Only then could they obtain the blessing of the myriad races and become the chosen one. Of course, they could admit defeat and give the fate energy to Ling Xiao. However, they had already offended Ling Xiao. Even if they were willing to admit defeat, it was another matter if the Ling Xiao department was not willing to accept it. Rumble. However, at this moment, the blazing light that originally enveloped Zhao Ritian suddenly erupted like a volcano, spewing out endless blood light. A vast and ancient aura erupted from it. An extraordinarily handsome figure stepped out from it. His body was extremely slender, and his skin was glowing. His black hair danced in the wind, and his eyes were as bright as the sun. He exuded an ancient and majestic aura, as if he was a supreme emperor who ruled over the life and death of all living beings. Anyone who looked at him could not help but kneel down. Zhao Ritian had awakened. The terrifying energy that erupted from his body was as if the energy of all the reincarnations had merged into one. It swept across the void, causing everyone to tremble. They could not help but look at him. Zhao Ritian. Shaman King and Undying Prince trembled, and their faces turned ghastly pale. Previously, Zhao Ritian had almost died in the hands of Tianzi. He had suffered unimaginable injuries, and his physical body had been destroyed. However, they did not expect Zhao Ritian to recover his peak strength so quickly. Moreover, the aura that Zhao Ritian exuded made their hearts palpitate. Ling Xiao, his life is mine. Chapter 23:13. Ling Xiao could feel that although Zhao Ritian looked calm on the surface, his emotions were like turbulent waves that contained anger, sorrow, and other complicated emotions. It was obvious that Zhao Ritian and Tianzi had a grudge that no one knew about. Although Ling Xiao was curious, he did not say much. He nodded and said, "All right. His life is in your hands." "Thank you." Zhao Ritian nodded at Ling Xiao. "What a joke. Do you think you can kill me?" Tianzi's eyes turned cold as he said with an ugly expression. "Di Yuan, we haven't met for hundreds of millions of years. You have the title of Tianzi, occupied my physical body, and possessed my fate. However, you should know that you'll have to pay back what you owe me." Zhao Ritian said calmly, his voice cold. Your physical body? Your fate? What a joke. Di Hao, I'm the real son of the Heavenly Emperor. If I devour your forbidden soul, do you think you can compete with me for the Heaven's Chosen One? Tianzi said angrily, his eyes filled with unwillingness. He did not expect Zhao Ritian to be able to break the seal of the 10,000 Emperor soul-locking curse. He also did not expect Ling Zhao's combat strength to be so terrifying. However, he still had a chance. Now that Ling Zhao had stopped attacking, if he could kill Zhao Ritian quickly and devour Zhao Ritian's forbidden soul, he would be able to fight his way out of this hopeless situation. He might even be able to turn the tables around. As he provoked Zhao Ritian with his words, he was secretly looking for Zhao Ritian's weakness. He wanted to win with a single strike. Di Yuan, you were originally the adopted son of my father, the Heavenly Emperor. My father treated you like his own son. However, you were greedy and insatiable. When my father died in the demonic realm, you took my Heavenly Emperor's bloodline and stole my physical body and fate. You even tried to devour my primordial spirit. If it wasn't for my indestructible soul that was blessed by my father, I would have died in your hands. Today is our fated battle. My blood, my flesh, my bones, my life. Today, I'll take them back. Zhao Ritian stared at Tianzi and said slowly, What? Zhao Ritian is the real Tianzi? After hearing the conversation between Zhao Ritian and Tianzi, Ling Zhao, the Shaman King, and the Undying Prince were all stunned. To them, this news was simply explosive and unimaginable. Who would have thought that the Son of Heaven, who claimed to be the son of the Celestial Emperor and possessed the inheritance of the Celestial Emperor, was actually just a fake? And Zhao Ritian was the true son of the Celestial Emperor? No wonder Tianzi wanted to kill Zhao Ritian. I didn't expect Zhao Ritian to have such a shocking identity. It's just that since he's the son of the Heavenly Emperor, how did he end up in the War God realm? Ling Zhao was both shocked and puzzled. Many of his doubts had been resolved. Furthermore, after hearing Zhao Ritian's words, he did not expect the Emperor's real name, Di Yuan, to be such a vicious person. Di Hao, you're right. Today is the fated battle between us, but the result is either you die or I die. Tianzi's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he instantly made his move. When Zhao Ritian was speaking just now, he had already seen Zhao Ritian's weakness. He believed that as long as he could hit that weakness, Zhao Ritian would definitely die. Rumble. Tianzi's body exploded with a vast amount of chaotic light. The Celestial Emperor's real body was completely activated by him once again. The Celestial Emperor's bloodline around him seemed to be burning, emitting a golden flame that seemed to be able to burn everything. The Celestial Emperor's fist, the human sovereign's sword, and the Celestial Emperor's seal appeared in front of Tianzi in an instant. They turned into a blazing light beam that could pierce through everything. It was like a light beam that could split the heavens and earth apart. Suddenly, it shot towards Zhao Ritian's sea of consciousness between his eyebrows. Zhao Ritian's real body was occupied by Tianzi. Now, only Zhao Ritian's soul was Di Hao. As for his physical body, it was formed by Zhao Ritian's cultivation. Therefore, Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit was his biggest weakness. As long as he could injure Zhao Ritian's primordial spirit, he could directly devour Zhao Ritian's forbidden soul. Zhao Ritian's expression was very calm, and there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Rumble. Just as the dazzling light beam was about to hit Zhao Ritian's glabella, a vast light suddenly gushed out. The flipping sky seal exuded a powerful and ancient aura. It directly blocked Zhao Ritian's path and collided with the light beam. In the end, the light beam was completely annihilated. What? Tianzi's body trembled. Looking at the cyclic sky seal in front of Zhao Ritian, he seemed to have recognized something and could not help but tremble. Emperor's origin, we haven't seen each other for hundreds of millions of years. For the sake of the Celestial Emperor's inheritance and the Chosen One convention, you have not made a breakthrough. This will be your biggest weakness. Zhao Ritian said indifferently. In an instant he grabbed the cyclic sky seal. His body emitted a vast and terrifying aura. The cyclic sky seal was like a mountain that pressed down on Tianzi. The cyclic sky seal emitted a destructive energy wave that caused the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Tianzi felt his scalp go numb. He could vaguely see an extremely familiar figure in the cyclic sky seal. This is the ultimate emperor weapon, the Celestial Emperor's seal. Impossible. This is impossible. The Celestial Emperor's seal has been shattered into pieces and has completely disappeared. Tianzi's body trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he started to roar. Facing the cyclic sky seal, he felt a great sense of danger. In an instant, the Celestial Emperor's bloodline in his body erupted. He wanted to forcefully activate the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword to resist the cyclic sky seal. He had long forgotten the rule of not using extreme Tao Emperor weapons in the final battle. Now he only wanted to live. Celestial Emperor, strip. Zhao Ritian shouted coldly. Rumble. The Celestial Emperor's real body behind Tianzi started to tremble violently. The divine order chains on the Celestial Emperor's real body shattered and Tianzi's aura started to weaken at a speed visible to the naked eye. Extreme Tao, strip. Zhao Ritian roared again. The Extreme Tao Emperor weapon that was trembling in Tianzi's body suddenly shot up into the sky. It flew above the Celestial Emperor's real body without Tianzi's control and shone brightly. Bloodline strip. With Zhao Ritian's third roar, the bloodline in Tianzi's body surged violently and started to boil violently. In an instant, it gushed out from the pores of Zhao Ritian's body. It was as vast as the sea and it gave off a dazzling golden glow. Flesh strip. Zhao Ritian's fourth roar caused Tianzi, who was covered in blood, to tremble violently. In the next moment, his physical body exploded into a cloud of blood mist and left him. I can't accept this. I can't accept this, Tianzi roared furiously. His eyes were filled with disbelief and despair. He couldn't understand how Zhao Ritian managed to strip his bloodline and even strip him of the Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword that he had refined for countless years. Fate strip. Zhao Ritian's final roar shook the heavens. It was as if thunder was roaring and contained an unparalleled heavenly might. In the void, Tianzi's remaining primordial spirit let out a crisp sound. Dense cracks appeared on it, and it looked as if it was going to turn into ashes at any time. Chapter 23:14. Spare me, I don't want to die. Tianzi's primordial spirit trembled violently and cracks appeared like a spider web. It looked like it was going to collapse at any moment. His eyes were filled with fear as he begged Zhao Ritian. The Heavenly Emperor True Body, Heavenly Tao Emperor Sword, Heavenly Emperor Bloodline, flesh, bones, and fate were all taken away. All that was left was a trace of primordial spirit. Tianzi was no match for Zhao Ritian. He could feel the shadow of death looming over him and his soul almost left his body. He did not want to die, or rather, he was not willing to die. Over the years, he had gotten used to Tianzi's identity and status. As long as he took another step forward, he would be able to get everything he wanted. He had never thought that he would die in the hands of Dihao. Back then, he had taken everything from Dihao. However, Dihao's undying soul had entered the cycle of reincarnation. Now that he had returned as Zhao Ritian, the two of them started a fated battle. Unfortunately, Tianzi was still defeated. You don't want to die? Back then, when you took my bloodline, my physical body, and swallowed my primordial spirit, did you not expect this day to come? Diyuan, you can go to hell now. Zhao Ritian's eyes were extremely cold. They contained deep hatred and sorrow. The flipping sky seal rumbled and suppressed Tianzi's primordial spirit. It was going to crush Tianzi's primordial spirit into dust. Let me go. Someone ordered me to do all this. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you who it is. Tianzi shouted in fear. What? Zhao Ritian's eyes flashed. The flipping sky seal landed on top of Tianzi's primordial spirit and stopped. He had always had doubts. When the Sky Emperor fell, Diwan was only a sage to be. How could he have planned all this and even broken the defense of the Sky Emperor's real body? Moreover, after Zhao Ritian was sealed by the 10,000 Emperor's Spirit Lock Heaven Fate Curse, he would not be able to break the seal even if he went through 10,000 reincarnations. Where did Diyuan get such a supreme treasure from? There was indeed a mastermind behind Diyuan. Di Hao, now that you have taken everything from me, I have been punished. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you who it is. Tianzi said anxiously. Speak. Who is it? Zhao Ritian stared at Tianzi and asked. To be able to plan all of this in the dark and even bestow a supreme treasure like the 10,000 Emperor's Spirit Locking Heaven Fate Curse to Diyuan, this person was definitely not an ordinary person. Perhaps, this person was a supreme expert on the same level as the Heavenly Monarch. Supreme Great Emperor. You must swear to spare my life. Otherwise, even if I die, you won't know who I am. Tianzi made up his mind and insisted. Zhao Ritian, why waste your breath on him? Why don't I just swallow his soul and search his soul? At that time, I'll naturally know who the mastermind is. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Naturally, he did not want Zhao Ritian to let Tianzi go just like that. It was better for such a powerful and ruthless enemy to die. If you dare to let him do it, I'll self-detonate my primordial spirit. When that happens, you won't know anything. Tianzi's eyes revealed a hint of madness. Self-destructing his primordial spirit? Hee, the little D origin is in the hands of your second uncle. Do you think your life is still in your own hands? At this moment, an old and mocking voice rang out in the void. Translator, Transin editor, Transin the flipping sky seal shone brightly. Runes rose and an old man in a Taoist robe appeared. A mighty force pressed down. Suddenly, Tianzi's primordial spirit seemed to be suppressed in the void and could no longer move. Is second uncle? Tianzi's body trembled and his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. He could not help but exclaim out loud. My former nephew, I didn't expect you to know second uncle. I thought that a deranged beast like you who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors would not remember anything. The old figure floated in the void. He was skinny and had a goatee. His pair of mung-bean eyes were filled with a sneer and mockery. Although he looked a little wretched and cunning, the aura that he emitted at this moment made everyone's heart palpitate. How can you still be alive? You're just the weapon spirit of the Heavenly Emperor's seal. Back then, the Heavenly Emperor's seal was shattered and completely destroyed in the demonic world. The weapon spirit should have been destroyed long ago. Why aren't you dead? Tianzi's body trembled as he spoke. The Heavenly Emperor had oppressed the heavens. He had two extreme Tao Emperor weapons in his hands. They were the Heavenly Emperor's seal and the Heavenly Emperor's sword. Although the Heavenly Emperor's sword was the Heavenly Emperor's personal sword, it was not the Heavenly Emperor's natal treasure. The Heavenly Emperor's seal was the supreme Emperor weapon that the Heavenly Emperor had painstakingly refined when he was weak. Second uncle's identity was originally the weapon spirit of the Heavenly Emperor's seal. He had a deep relationship with the Heavenly Emperor. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the Heavenly Emperor's biological brother. The Heavenly Emperor was out fighting all year round. On the contrary, it was second uncle who often taught Di Hao and Diyuan. Because of his carefree nature, Di Hao and Diyuan addressed him as second uncle. However, no one remembered his real name. During the war in the demonic world, the Heavenly Emperor fought against 9 great Emperor realm experts alone. Although he had the Heavenly Emperor's seal and the Heavenly Emperor's sword, the Heavenly Emperor died in the battle. The Heavenly Emperor's seal was destroyed and the Heavenly Emperor's sword flew back to the Heavenly Palace and was obtained by Diyuan. Tianzi did not expect second uncle to still be alive. Of course I'm still alive. If I'm not alive, how can I find Hao in the samsara? How can I seek revenge from you and take back everything that belongs to him? Diyuan, you're ambitious and sinful. Do you still want to live today? Even if Hao agrees, I won't agree. Second uncle's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. It was obvious that he hated Tianzi to the core. Rumble. Second uncle exuded a vast and terrifying aura. The chaotic light in the surroundings surged and gathered toward him in an instant. It turned into a terrifying gale and surged toward Tianzi's primordial spirit. Every gust of wind was like the edge of a blade, containing a power fluctuation that could destroy everything. Tianzi's primordial spirit was swept by the gale. It was as if he was being cut into pieces. His body trembled violently and he let out a miserable cry. It hurts. Spare me, spare me. Diao, you'll die a horrible death. Even if I die, I won't tell you. Second uncle, I can't take it anymore. Give me a quick death. I'll tell you who it is. Tianzi's primordial spirit suffered unimaginable torture. However, the gale that swept over his primordial spirit was not fatal. It only destroyed his primordial spirit bit by bit and made him suffer unimaginable pain. Even the shaman king and the undying prince, who were hiding in the distance, felt their eyelids twitch. Their eyes were filled with sorrow. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.